Shohei makes his debut against Dylan Cease. We take a look at the weekend and get you ready for the next four up in Los Angeles. Now, here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour one of John and Jim. We're getting you ready. It's Padres-Dodgers with the added element of Shohei Ohtani making his pitching debut as a Dodger in his second year, and we have you covered. Fabian Ardaya, the Athletic, will join us at 2:30. He covers the Dodgers, so he will join us for the second time in 2 weeks to talk about the series. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He will join us coming up at 3 p.m. from Dodger Stadium. What a day yesterday at Oakmont. Ryan Donovan, San Diego State's head coach, men's golf, will join us at 3:30. The Aztec for Life JJ Spawn winning at Oakmont. Ryan Donovan will talk about Spawn and Xander Schauffele and Justin Hastings, who was a low amateur as well out of SDSU. He'll join us coming up at 3:30. But can you ask for more, Jim? I mean, the Padres are not playing their best baseball. They just lost a home series to the Dodgers. They go to Arizona. They lose 2 of 3. We can get into that. But a 4-game series tonight at Dodger Stadium. Shohei Ohtani makes his debut. Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to be in the batter's box. It's round 2, so to speak, in the regular season. It's the first time the Padres have played there since Game 5. Mm-hmm. And it's tonight at 7:10. And I know it's only the middle of June, but these are big series, especially when you're already trailing the Dodgers in the division. And it kicks off again here tonight in about 4 hours.
Yeah, the last week for the Padres hasn't been that good. They've had some nice moments, but losing back-to-back series to the Dodgers and the D-backs doesn't really feel great, especially with some of the losses that have been in the last week. Saturday night, Monday against the Dodgers last week, and then having complete no-shows last Wednesday and then Friday against Arizona. But getting the win yesterday, playing really good baseball, good pitching. Fernando Tatis Jr., who you mentioned, heating up. He's heating up. Like, perfect time. Going to Dodger Stadium, perfect time to get hot. But tonight, it's like the main event. Tonight, it's all right. Let's go. It's go time. Like last week here at Petco, that was a playoff-like atmosphere. 3 games, the place was packed, back and forths. I mean, it was great theater. Tonight, when you add in the element of Shohei Ohtani on the mound, it just goes to another level. Now, again, he'll only pitch an inning, and 50% of Dodger fans going to tonight's game won't even see him pitch because that place does not get full until like the 4th inning. But at 7:10, first pitch, Ohtani to Fernando Tatis Jr. That's as big as it gets.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit about like what you just said there with Ohtani probably going 1 inning. And we'll talk to Fabian Ardaya. Maybe he goes more than that. I'd be surprised. It reminds me of like Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. We're like, well, yeah, they're facing the opponent's defense.
Marquee matchup. Yeah.
Ohtani is going to face 5 batters, 4 batters, 3 batters. The game is unlikely to be determined based on that. Like, it's unlikely we get through the first inning, it's 5-0 Padres, and that's the determining factor. I mean, it could be, but again, from a headline perspective, when you think about LA, when you think about Ohtani has not appeared on the mound as a Dodger. Last year, they won the World Series. He didn't pitch. This year, the expectation was, I think when we talked to Fabian Ardaya a week ago, he said the expectation was to get him back after the All-Star break. This is a surprise. They just announced this yesterday, and here is Ohtani as an opener tonight against the San Diego Padres. From a Padres perspective, you can't concern yourself solely with that. It's an inning. You have to concern yourself with playing better baseball. You're without Jackson Merrill now. He's out with the concussion IL. He's missed half the year with a hamstring and a concussion. You do have Tatis heating up. You do have Machado playing very well. You need Dylan Cease to look like Dylan Cease from last week. It's as simple as that. Dylan Cease carried the way for the Padres last week at Petco Park. You need Dylan Cease to be Dylan Cease. Hopefully Tatis and Machado look like themselves. To me, it's an important series to split or do better. We talked about it last time on the wrap-up show. I think if you lose this series, you're really looking up at the Dodgers. I know there's a lot of time left, but it's a series that if you lose it, I don't think you feel great about your chances in terms of winning the West. I know it's early. I know that's not the end-all, be-all. But to me, you don't want to fall 5+ games behind the Dodgers, and that's why this is an important series.
What do you make of the Dodgers deciding to use tonight against the Padres as like a quote unquote rehab assignment for Ohtani?
We talked about it briefly off air, and I was like, listen, I don't think the Dodgers are overly concerned about their opponent in terms of how to put Ohtani in the best position to be successful on the mound. As in, I think they've got a plan with the timeline, and this coincides with it. Whether it was San Diego tonight at Dodger Stadium or Milwaukee tonight at Dodger Stadium, my guess is Ohtani would appear. But it does, to me, it adds some like flames on a fire. It heightens it a little bit. I don't think it has anything personally to do with the Padres, but I guess I understand that sentiment. I feel like they're just putting themselves in a position where they feel like they give Shohei Ohtani the best chance to be successful. I don't think they would do anything else. I don't think they would make a sideshow of Ohtani. So I feel as if this is part of the plan to get him wherever they want to get him between now and October.
Well, anytime Ohtani was going to return to the mound, he was going to become
a show.
Yep. Like whoever. If you face the Rockies on a random Tuesday night, it become a show.
Big deal, yeah.
I've been seeing a little bit of on social media. I understand why the Dodgers are doing this. You're not sending Ohtani down to the minors for a rehab start.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. You're not taking that bat out of the lineup. And where'd you say they're AAA or they're
Oklahoma City?
Oklahoma City, yeah,
2,000 miles.
You're not sending Ohtani to Oklahoma City to pitch 2 innings and have him miss a game for the Dodgers.
Right, because to your point, he can't hit.
Yeah,
if you rehab him now, you take his bat out of the lineup.
So yeah, you're not doing it, and I personally, I like it. If I'm looking at from just a pure like watchability standpoint, I think this is great theater tonight. I hope the Padres rock Ohtani like he's never been rocked before. I hope he doesn't even make it out of the first inning. I hope that Martin Maldonado gets in a bat, or whoever is their catcher tonight for the Padres gets in a bat in the first inning, which would mean they've hit Ohtani well.
Sure.
And if you remember, one of like the last times that Ohtani pitched in a major league game was here at Petco Park with the Angels, and the Padres hit him around the ballpark. Xander Bogaerts had a home run.
Jake
Cronenworth had a home run, and that was one of the last times that Ohtani pitched on a big league mound.
If you're wondering, because we talked about this last night on a wrap-up show, we set the over-under at 11.5 tweets from MLB's account from midnight to midnight.
Last time I checked, I counted 5.
They're at 6.
Okay.
So the over is going to hit definitively. They're at 6, 5 hours before the game. If there's another 6 during the game, that's 12. If there's another 3 before the game, that's 15. If there's another 5 after the game, that's 20. I mean, they're going to tweet about him 15 to 25 times here today. This is the MLB account, not the Dodger account.
No. Not Dodger. Obviously, the Dodgers account is going to tweet.
They can tweet as much as they want.
60 times today about Ohtani, as they should. It's their account.
Right.
But, we always joke and make fun of Major League Baseball's social accounts, and they've made fun of themselves, and it doesn't really hit like they think it hits, for tweeting as much and putting out Shohei Ohtani as much as they have.
Sure.
And like if he hits a big home run, obviously you're going to tweet about it. But it's like the stupid little things like, hey, here's Ohtani with a great swing as first at bat, and he like rolls over. Like what?
Exactly. Like what are we doing?
Like what are we doing here? Oh, here's a video of Ohtani's dog.
Right.
Here's Ohtani running to first base. And they have tweeted those things before. So we talked about it last night, like you said, should have put the over under at like at least 17.5.
I mean, that seemed like a huge number.
I know
for one account of 30 teams in one day.
But you're at 6 at 2:10 p.m. and the game starts for 5 hours.
I mean, what would you reset it at? I'd go higher than 17.5. I'll set it at 21.5.
21? I'll go 19.5.
Okay, let's see what the number is. I think it's somewhere in that 20 range before the end of the day.
Because like we talked through this. All right,
6 already.
6 already. You're gonna get his first pitch, or at least his first, whatever from MLB account. If he strikes out somebody, that's going to be put out there at least 3 times. So now there's 4 right there. You're going to get Ohtani warming up. There's 5.
We haven't even gotten Ohtani walking into the stadium yet.
Ohtani walking into the stadium, at least 2 of those or 1 of those. That's 5. That's 6 or 7. What if
Dave Roberts on Ohtani post game?
Yeah,
Ohtani on Ohtani post game through the translator.
Right, maybe different angles of Ohtani on the mound after he gets done pitching. So there's like 3 more there. That's like 10. Yeah. And there's already been 6. So now we're like 16.
You'll get the tweet of fans wearing an Ohtani jersey in the stands. Dodger Stadium tonight is a scene with like multiple people wearing Ohtani jerseys.
Probably.
You'll get that.
Maybe bullpen before the game.
Absolutely, you're going to get the bullpen. You might get him stretching on the field before the bullpen.
Might get some dugout shots of Ohtani, like in between innings. Like, man, he just completed his first inning back since 2 years ago.
But that's why I like your overall point, which is hopefully the Padres don't concern themselves with any of this, because you just want to do what you've been doing. And I will say this: while they're 2-4 in their last 6, and they've lost these important series, the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks in division, and they're 3 games under 500 since 14.
Give me the underlying.
I'll give you
good
the good
news.
Their offense for the last 6 games has been a lot better. This was an anemic offense for a month. They scored against the Dodgers in 2 of the 3 games. They scored against the Diamondbacks in 2 of the 3 games. And Fernando Tatis Jr. against the D-backs was 8 of 13 in the series, now a near 1,500 OPS. He's still waiting for that home run that's been elusive. He has not hit one so far this month, but I feel like we're seeing something at the end of a tunnel with this offense. Now, Merrill hurts that. And Merrill wasn't playing perfectly, but Merrill hurts that. But if Tatis is going to look like Tatis at Dodger Stadium, I think you can deal with Merrill being out for hopefully just a few days. But even without Merrill yesterday, offense was good. I think by and large, the last week, offense has been good. They have to be good to win this series at Dodger Stadium. You're not going to win every game 2-0 over the next 4 days. No way.
No. And honestly, coming out with a split, I mean, 4 games it's a tough. It's a tough place to play. Dodgers are one of the best home teams in baseball. Taking 3 or 4 at Dodger Stadium might be wishful thinking. So getting a split and getting out of there with just 2 wins, I think you might have to take that. Now, of course, if you win the first 2 games, then of course you get greedy, and then you look to win one of the next 2, and there you go, 3 of 4. But just looking at the series at first glance here, and 4-game series, and saw how they played against the Dodgers last week. These are going to be close games, and coming out with a split would be something I think we would all take. Now, again, we got to see how these games play out, and if tonight and tomorrow the Padres beat the Dodgers, then yeah, of course, everyone's going to get greedy around here and want to take 3 or 4. And hell, if you win 3 in a row at Dodger Stadium, then it's like, yeah, go for the sweep. But start with 1 game tonight. Spoil Ohtani's return. Make sure that it'd be great if tonight he didn't even finish the first inning. Like he's going to be on a pitch count for sure. They're saying no more than 20 to 25 pitches. Can you make him throw a bunch of pitches in the first inning? That would be my goal if you're the Padres.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I completely agree with that. And also, would you take a split? Padres fans, to Jim's point, they're 25-12 at home. The Dodgers this year, would you take that split to remain 3 games back coming out of the series? 877-767-4760 or text us 70470. Start it with team. Fabian Ardaya with more on Ohtani's return from the Athletic will join us at 2:30. We have an update, though, on Yu Darvish we're going to share on the other side. Padres, Dodgers, kickoff round 2 tonight at 7:10. We have you covered. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Fabian Ardaya will join us coming up at 2:30. Covers the Dodgers for The Athletic. Kevin Acee will join us at 3. And then we'll talk about what a performance it was from J.J. Spawn at 3:30 with the head coach of San Diego State men's golf program, Ryan Donovan. Coached J.J. Spawn, Xander Schauffele, Justin Hastings. He was the low amateur. And Aztecs have won 3 of the last 6 majors now, dating back to last year. And Xander Schauffele. Our iHeartRadio Music Festival back. Live performances by Mariah Carey, Maroon 5 and more, September 19th and 20th. T-Mobile in Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Buy tickets at AXS.com. Get them now before they sell out. So there's an update, Jim, on you, Darvish, from Kevin Acee, who will join us at 3. There's been so many updates to the updates on Darvish, but this is the latest. From Darvish himself, an exact quote. Kevin writes, Darvish expects to make his season debut sometime next month. Of course, today's June 16th, so now we're talking about July for you, Darvish. He was asked, will it be before the All-Star break? His answer, I don't know. I need to ask my elbow. That's the quote from you, Darvish.
I don't know about you, John, but that's not what I want to hear from a pitcher.
Certainly half facetious, but I would agree with you. That's not necessarily what I was hoping for when someone has been out for more than 3 months. Since he went out in March, it's been more than 3 months.
Like, I know he's joking, but I don't know. Let me ask my elbow when the time comes.
Hi, elbow.
Excuse me?
Were we even told from day one that it was elbow related? It was later after the rehab start that they're like, they need to make sure the elbow is fully intact. Were we told in March it was an elbow injury?
I think we were.
Or was it arm fatigue?
I'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure the elbow was
inflammation or something.
There we go. Inflammation in the elbow.
Yeah. Okay.
That was it.
That makes sense.
Now he's like, I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Will it be before the All-Star break? I'll ask my elbow. So, I mean, at this point, I'm just going to say, if I can sign up, if you can sign up for his health from July 20th on, how could you say no to that? This thing is so up in the air. You can't ask for more than that. You can't ask for him to come back like July 4th. You just got to hope he gets back after the All-Star break and can pitch every 5th or 6th or 7th game and stays healthy, hopefully, as long as the Padres play this year. That's probably wishful, truthfully.
Because they're going to need him. You know, if Michael King was healthy, I would say maybe just like, okay, take your time a little more. But without Michael King, you're going to need all the help you can get, especially when, I mean, you do have guys that are pitching well in the back end, like Ryan Berger, Stephen Kolek, Randy Vasquez. But how long can you ride those guys without, you know, them falling off or having bad consecutive starts or a bad stretch? Like those guys have been pitching very well. But do you expect them to pitch this way for the rest of the season? That's a tough ask for guys that, you know, Stephen Kolek's never been a starter before. Ryan Berger, like Randy Vasquez is the only one, and he's still even in his career. Like, look how many starts he's had in his career. Not a lot.
Yeah, like how many innings are you going to ask these guys to pitch over the course of the full year?
And these aren't guys that are gonna have, or they don't have a track record of going deep into games. So the bullpen has been used a lot. And then it puts pressure on guys like Nick Pivetta and Dylan Cease, which, by the way, their last couple starts have been great. But it puts pressure on those guys to go deep into games every time out. Because if you don't, your bullpen's already been used a lot for, you know, Berger starts and Kolek starts and Vasquez starts. And now they got to come in and, you know, early in the game for Cease and Pivetta starts. Then it's just a cycle of we're using the bullpen way too much. By the way, they already are using the bullpen way too much. And getting back both, you know, Michael King and Yu Darvish are big. Those are big pieces to this puzzle here.
Yeah, well, all the talk about left field from day one, we've spoken obsessively about left field. To me, starting pitching has leapfrogged left field. When I look at the Giants go out and get a bat, address their biggest need for a struggling offense, a team that's played well, that's been led by their pitching, but address their biggest need, that to me makes sense for the Giants. Rafi Devers, and we can get into that, and we will. To me, what's trumping left field is what you just said and what Kevin wrote about last week, that emerging pitching crisis. You're staring down the barrel of running out of starting pitching if you're turning to guys like Stephen Kolek and Ryan Berger over the course of 162, and if Michael King and Yu Darvish aren't healthy. So knowing that, what's not trumping left field to me is you got to get through 162 and potentially beyond. And I just think starting pitching is probably over the course of the year more impactful than putting a 6-hole hitter in your lineup that hopefully improves your lineup, but isn't going to make some drastic change to what you're doing 1 through 9 would be my guess.
Here's how you can afford to hold off on getting a left field bat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's happening before our eyes. Fernando Tatis Jr. heating back up. You get Tatis on a real heater here for the next month. You get Luis Ariz back in some form of what he resembled, the last 3 years. Because right now, you're not seeing that. You get those two guys swinging a hot bat, plus what Manny's done this year. Gavin Sheets has done well. I know Jackson Merrill's on the 7-day IL, but it takes him as well to be put in this lineup and playing well to afford to hold off for as long as you can on left field. I'm not saying that if all those guys start hitting again, which by the way, Tatis he had a great series in Arizona. They're still going to need a left field bat.
Sure.
They're still going to need a left fielder. I'm not saying that, if all these guys are just hot, then they'll be fine. No, if these guys continue to swing a hot bat, and if Tatis actually takes what he's done in the Arizona series and parlays that into like a month, or at least just leading up to the All-Star break where he's playing like this, offensively, then you can afford to maybe hold off on a bat until you absolutely need to make a trade, which would be around the trade deadline.
I'll say Tatis is back if he does it for 4 days at Dodger Stadium. He doesn't have to go 8 for 13. But if he's impactful at Dodger Stadium for 4 games, hits a home run or 2, has 2 or 3 multi-hit games, like this is the player we're all hoping to see.
Well, he'll get like what? He'll get around like 16, 17, 18 at bats potentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are you saying?
Oh, you said 7 for 13. I was just thinking.
Well, I'm saying if he's not the same hitter,
yeah,
I mean, just the math, whatever the 8 for 13 carried out is. I'm saying if he has a couple multi games, if he hits a home run or 2, like then to me, I'm not going to say is Tatis back. If he does it at Dodger Stadium and leads the Padres to a win or 2 himself, or he plays a role in that, then I'll say Tatis is back. But if he goes back to being who he was, then what are we going to say about the Arizona series? It was a blip.
You know what he still needs to accomplish here? He needs to hit a baseball over the fence.
That's one thing that he is lacking. But I mean, again, I'll take the 600 average the next 4 days if he doesn't homer. But that's what we're looking for.
And I think once that happens, once Tatis hits 3 home runs in a week, or even 2 home runs in a week, that's when I feel like we can pretty close to confidently say, like, okay, he's back.
Yeah.
Because right now he is doing everything but that. He hasn't homered since May 20, the end of May.
Yep.
And we're middle of June. It's been 3 weeks since he's last homered.
Is it the longest drought of his career? How can it not be? It's got to be right there.
We'll ask Kevin. Maybe Kevin will know.
Yeah. We'll ask Kevin at 3. Fabian Ardaya, The Athletic. He covers the Dodgers. More on Shohei Ohtani. The expectations for tonight. Is he going an inning or more? What will his pitch count be heading in to this opener start for the Dodgers? He'll get us ready for this 4-game series as well. He was with us last week. Back with us on the other side. Plus Kevin Acey at 3 p.m. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Indeed.com. Padres, Dodgers tonight in LA at Dodger Stadium. They start a 4-game series. 7:10 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres against Shohei Ohtani, making his debut on the mound for the Dodgers. Game 5 of the NBA Finals is tonight in OKC. The series is tied at 2 games apiece. A crucial Game 5, 5:30 tip time in Oklahoma City, and a shakeup in the National League West as yesterday afternoon the Giants made a blockbuster trade as they traded for All-Star Rafi Devers from the Boston Red Sox. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit now.
All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We get Dodgers and Padres again for the second time in essentially a week, this time from Dodger Stadium for the first time since Game 5 of last year's NLDS won by LA. Great to have Fabian Ardaya back with us from The Athletic. He was with us last week previewing that first series. So, Fabian, we appreciate you taking time in San Diego. We were surprised about the Ohtani announcement that he will be the opener here tonight. So what are the expectations? What will be the pitch count? And could he go more than 1 inning tonight? Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, well, we're surprised too. I think it all came together relatively quickly, especially after, I think last Tuesday was his last simulated game facing hitters at Petco Park. And they kind of said that maybe before the All-Star break then, they said that maybe he needs one more. And all of a sudden comes out yesterday that he is pitching today. So yeah, I think the expectation is for him to pitch and just throw 1 inning today as an opener and kind of continue his big league buildup, buildup in the big league level and sort of keep working in actual games, which is super unorthodox, but I guess everything kind of is when it comes to Shohei Ohtani.
And yeah, unorthodox is a good term to use for this, but they don't really have another option because they're not going to send him down to the minors for a rehab start. They need his bat in the lineup. So this is kind of like the only way to do this, right?
Absolutely. And he was already in the stage where he was facing hitters, throwing simulated games, but he kind of expressed it that basically the process of heating up to go pitch, cooling off, and then heating up again to go hit was more taxing than if he was just to do both at the same time, which he'll do tonight. So that was also part of the reason for kind of moving it up. He felt like that was more of a physical toll than even just trying to do this during a big league game. So that's part of the calculus as well.
When you talk about the calculus, Fabian Ardaya with The Athletic with us right now, and John and Jim, and maybe I'd ask you to speculate from a Dodger perspective. What do you think is like the ideal scenario with Ohtani in terms of his usage in 2025? Like when we fast forward to the postseason, for example, is he coming out of their bullpen? Is he opening, or is he flat out starting and trying to give them length in the postseason? Like, what do you think is what they're trying to accomplish in 2025 with him?
It seems like they're still trying to just build him up as a starter. I think the way that it's sort of starting out right now is as an opener. You can still take advantage of the Ohtani rule that way, both not just the rule of the roster flexibility, but also the rule of being able to keep him as your DH, even if he's done pitching. So the plan is still to build him up basically an inning at a time with each outing, build him up to a full starter's workload. We'll see how it looks come October. I think the plan as of right now is just to see what it looks like as a full-time starter. I could see a scenario where he's an opener in October. Sure, if he works out better in short bursts and they're healthier on the starting pitching front. But the one thing I don't see is a scenario where he's pitching in relief, just because it's so unpredictable. His ability to sort of go warm up while he's also getting ready and hitting, it just seems too complicated. They're better off either having him open a game or full-fledged starting a game.
So with Ohtani opening tonight and the rest of this series, the Dodgers pitching staff we saw last week kind of in shambles a little bit. They using Kike Hernandez in the 6th inning to save their bullpen. How are they doing now a week later as far as their pitching goes and their bullpen usage? And how do you expect tonight and the rest of the series to play out as far as a pitching standpoint for the Dodgers?
I think still a lot of questions, but it does seem like they have been in a better spot in terms of usage when it comes to their bullpen. They're going to see Emmett Sheehan come back at some point during this Padres series. They don't know yet if it's going to be tomorrow or Wednesday, but that'll be his first start coming off Tommy John surgery. So that'll be at least part of the picture here. Ben Caspary is going to be part of the picture. it's not clear yet if he's going to be following Shohei Ohtani tonight or starting tomorrow, but he will be part of the pitching plan as well. So it'll be those guys, and then Yoshinobu Yamamoto will be pitching on an extra day of rest on Thursday.
Fabian Ardaya with us right now. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. What is the impact of the Devers trade on the NL West, in your opinion? Does it remotivate the Dodgers at the deadline? Not that they need to be remotivated, but what impact do you think it has on the Dodgers, but just the NL West in general?
Yeah, I'm trying to be careful with how I kind of phrase this. It kind of establishes the Giants as a real contender. I think you sort of looked at them. They obviously got to a great start. Their pitching is legit, but you were easily able to poke holes in that lineup. And now you're looking at that lineup once Rafael Devers is in there, especially once Matt Chapman gets healthy. That's a real legitimate lineup that is difficult to go through, and that really makes it a tough competition in the NL West. I think you sort of obviously kind of knew that was the case with the Padres and how they're constructed. But yeah, I think the Dodgers kind of always understood that at least the Padres and the Giants, as long as they held on, were going to be real contenders for the division. But now I think it just further legitimizes the Giants' chances.
First time the Dodgers and Padres have met at Dodger Stadium since Game 5 of last year. Obviously, last week, atmosphere at Petco was definitely playoff-like. Do you expect the same here at Dodger Stadium with these two teams?
Yeah, I would say so. I think it's just going to be always the case when these two teams square off. Obviously, with all the history involved at this point, but obviously, also like you mentioned, this is going to be the first time since that Game 5, and that series. We were talking about this last week, how much that series kind of meant to the Dodgers, to their run, how difficult that was, how it, in a lot of ways, was the toughest battle they had last year in October. So reminders of that. I think you can sort of look at the Dodgers promotional schedule, all the World Series memorabilia that they're giving out this week, specifically against the Padres, is kind of an example of that.
Fabian, I know it's only the middle of June, but you look at it from a Padre perspective, they're 3 games back of the Dodgers, which isn't the end of the world. But let's say the Dodgers did win this series. They've been so good at home, 25-12. I mean, if the Dodgers win this series and take 3 or 4, they're 5 games up on San Diego. Do you see this as a impactful series just when we look at the NL West, maybe more so for San Diego than it is for Los Angeles, considering where they are in the West?
I think it definitely can be, especially because you're looking at the Dodgers' schedule coming up. These 4 games against the Padres are last of a 29-game stretch where they're playing nothing but postseason contenders. After that, the schedule lightens up quite a bit for them, so that you can really see there's a window here for the Dodgers to kind of get their feet under them, get healthy, and really reel off a lot of wins against the subpar teams. So yeah, this is a big series, especially. Just even coming out of this series in an overall decent spot, as long as avoiding disaster at this point for the Dodgers in this series, they're going to come out of this probably feeling pretty good about where they stand and also the platform that they have to kind of jump off and maybe get hot and get a run and really expand that division lead a little bit.
One player that we talked a lot about this past offseason here in San Diego, especially, was Roki Sasaki. Yeah. He's injured right now. Yesterday, Dave Roberts said that his shoulder, he's not comfortable throwing, and then post game it was a different story, different vibe with how they were talking about Roki Sasaki. What is going on right now with Roki, and is there any timeline to see him pitch again in the big leagues this year?
What we definitely know is that he's not throwing right now, and that there's no real timeline at this point. I think he's at a point where he's not able to throw without feeling something in his shoulder. I think Dave Roberts tried to post game. It's more rubbing than pain. It's an impingement, so there's something in that shoulder that's just not allowing him to move normally. And until he's able to really cut it loose and throw, you can't really have a good idea of where things are kind of going to stand for him. He received a cortisone injection about a week ago, and we'll see sort of how things pick up from there. Obviously, Dave Roberts is a lot more optimistic post-game than he was pre-game, but it's still a lot more questions than answers in terms of what it looks like. And also, you have to see, even when he gets healthy, what changes the Dodgers can make behind the scenes to sort of get him to be the pitcher that they envision him being. Because the version that they got from him, obviously, he was dealing with something physically, but the version they got from him this year is not someone who, if all guys are healthy in October, someone that they would envision starting a postseason game for them at this point.
Fabian, covering the Dodgers like you do on a daily basis, and with the amount of stars they have, you could say like it's kind of like a media circus, and especially with Ohtani and all the Japanese talent they have, Yamamoto and Sasaki they brought in the offseason. But what do you expect for tonight? Do you feel like tonight will be a little more chaotic with Ohtani on the mound, or what's your expectations, or is it just like the same chaotic feeling every day covering this Dodger team?
It is chaotic every day. I do feel like today's going to be a little bit different just because of what this means for Ohtani, what this means for the Dodgers. Like, this is a vision that they've had for him for years. Even before he signed with the Dodgers, was a vision of him pitching for them, him being a two-way player for them. Now that you're kind of getting the full Ohtani experience at this point. Obviously, the Dodgers have no complaints on what the one-way Ohtani was able to do, winning an MVP, winning a World Series. But, like, you're getting to see Ohtani back at his element, really. Like, this is the thing that separates him from everyone else. We obviously know he is a dynamic talent offensively. We know what he's done in the past on the mound, but if he can recapture what he was on the mound, even if it's just for an inning tonight, you're kind of looking at the one thing that's kind of separated from him for the rest of baseball. Like, he's the only guy who's doing this.
Yeah, you wrote about this, Fabian. Before we let you go, my final question, because I'm reading what you wrote back in 2021. I know you retweeted it today. It's like we almost maybe took it for granted with Ohtani. Like, oh yeah, he pitches and he hits. He happens to do it at a really high level. But what goes into that in a same game is truly remarkable, right? I mean, in terms of like a mental approach to being on the mound, then a mental approach to being in the batter's box. Like, what did you decipher when you put that together and wrote about him 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I think it's hard to, like, as I was writing it, like, it was like, I'm not sure which one's a bigger toll. If it's the mental, like, switching your brain from the pitcher mode to hitter mode, or it's like just a logistical, like, kind of thing. But especially because he's hitting leadoff, you have to basically take your glove off, get ready to hit, and everything like that within a matter of seconds, especially now with the pitch clock. So, like, it's one of the things that the exercise of him coming off the mound and then getting ready and going out to the on-deck circle, it was one of the things that I found kind of enjoyable when he was doing both the Angels in 21, was just getting to watch, like, how remarkable it is that this guy's doing this. He's throwing 100 miles an hour 1 minute, and then 5 minutes later, he's hitting a ball 100 miles an hour into the seat.
Yeah, ridiculous. It has been ridiculous. We'll see how it plays out. Beginning tonight, his Dodger debut on the mound against the Padres tonight at Dodger Stadium. Fabian, we always appreciate your time and your writing and your reporting, so thanks for doing it today in San Diego.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
All right, great stuff from Fabian Ardaya from The Athletic. We'll react to that. Plus, what's the impact here of the Rafi Devers move on AJ Preller? That's next. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, download the all-new iHeartRadio app, and when you do it, put San Diego Sports 760 in your presets. You can listen live to John and Jim weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. You can also put John and Jim in your presets. Listen back to any hour or interview, including our conversation we just had with Fabian Ardaya, who covers the Dodgers for The Athletic. We touched on Rafi Devers, who is as big of a bat as you can add. I mean, realistically, it doesn't get bigger than that. What the Giants did in mid-June, that's a blockbuster addition. We could get into the merits of the deal both ways, but forget about that for a second. Adding Devers to your lineup is massive for the San Francisco Giants. What does it now mean for a team like the Padres? Padres have holes. Giants had holes. They tried to fill them yesterday. So the Giants believe they're going to be there. I mean, they're already well positioned. They're a game better than San Diego. What is this going to mean for AJ Preller, who we learned yesterday also in reporting from Massachusetts? The Padres did inquire about Devers, but per the report, were not as motivated as the Giants who got the deal done.
Not surprised in the slightest
that the Padres were inquired.
Right. And I bet you it was the quickest, like, hey, what's up? What's the deal on Rafi? And then it was a move on.
Like, do you have $250 million to pay him?
Because guess what? That deal would have never, ever materialized. Never.
I think just financially. Forget about third base. I just think financially.
Financially, there's no shot. Because they got the Xander anchor of a contract weighing you down from adding significant money to this team.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was hilarious because, of course, he did. He calls about everybody. I'm sure he's called the Pirates about Paul Skeens, or he will call the Pirates on Paul Skeens, or he'll call, he'll call everybody.
Called the Angels on Ohtani,
right?
2 Julys ago.
Yeah. He'll call the Royals on Bobby Witt. Like right. Hey, what's going on?
Call the Giants on Devers.
Yeah. Hey, Salvi, is Salvi available at all?
Exactly.
So I don't take anything from that. I just think it's hilarious that of course AJ called the Red Sox. But back to what this means for the National League West. When Buster took over for Farhan, you kind of had a feeling, okay, maybe this might take a little bit, right? But the thing is, they're not going to allow or let Posey fail. They're going to give him every single resource that he'll need to succeed. Farhan was a micromanager. He, tinker with that team more than AJ Preller's ever tinker with any team on a daily basis. They had moves every single day. Guys are up and down, up and down.
Yeah, you're right.
They had no consistent lineup, no star players on that team. And he really ran that thing to the ground where you thought to yourself when Posey took over, this might take a bit. But guess what? Maybe 4 or 5 years down the line, watch out for the Giants potentially. It took 6 months where you're like, oh, they're a real threat now in the division. Not just, oh, they're outplaying their expectations this year. And, down the stretch, they might kind of tail off a bit. But as of right now, they're playing above expectations. They're a real threat. And if you're the Padres and you're a Padres fan and you're AJ Preller, you have to consider them as a real threat. Because
100%.
They have went from like the big boy tables, winning all those World Series, back to the kiddie tables, back to 1 year at the big boy table by doing it some weird wonky way in 2021, and then fell off by continuing to do it the wonky way that they were doing and just kind of, hovering around mediocrity. Now with the signing of Adames, and they locked up, I think, Logan Webb long-term, Robbie Ray is there, and now they trade for Devers. Bro, watch out, man.
Yeah, I don't think there's just an NL West threat. I think they're probably going to be deemed as like a legitimate World Series threat or team to get out of the National League. Now, that's easier said than done. Dodgers still exist. Padres still exist. But when you think about a path to the postseason for San Diego, you now have to assume 2 of the spots are filled. LA, check. That spot's filled. San Francisco, it's going to be seen as a disappointment, just like it would be in San Diego if that team didn't make the postseason. They're 10 games over 500. Put a check next to them. You can't win the Central or the East. Those 2 spots are taken. So if one of the wildcard spots is either LA or San Francisco, there's only 2 other spots. So you just do the math on it with Philadelphia and New York. You look at the Central. Like, it's a narrow window if San Francisco and LA are in the postseason. Now, that could include San Diego as well. Make no mistake. I'm just saying, because of San Francisco, there was not an expectation to start the year that San Francisco would be as good or better than San Diego. Now that expectation exists, that they're as good or better than San Diego. So now if you're Preller with a narrower margin, how do you make a corresponding move?
And the thing with, and yes, you have to make a corresponding move, but mostly because
you have your own needs.
You have a giant black hole in left field. But, remember the start of the season, we talked about teams that would legitimately be fighting for a playoff spot. And we said the Giants, maybe.
Exactly.
Nope, they are right in that thing now. And Arizona, after watching them over the weekend, yeah, they got some problems with their pitching staff, but their offense is still pretty damn good.
Yep.
And they are not going to be an easy team to play against. The Padres end their season against Arizona. What if Arizona's in it for the last wild card spot? They're not going to lay down, So the thing is, right now, the National League West is an absolute gauntlet. The National League is a gauntlet. You look at the East, I know the Braves are having like a 2023 Padres season with what can go wrong will go wrong for them, but they're probably not going to stay down for too long. I mean, Anthopoulos is a really good GM, and they have really good pieces there, and they're just having a really bad down year. But Philadelphia, New York, Mets, and then in the Central, like we talked about, the Central as being just maybe a one team to get out of the Central, like the Cubs, but the Brewers and the Cardinals have played well this season.
The Reds are 37-35.
And then, of course, the National League West, everybody besides the Rockies. This is not an easy path at all. And the later you get into the season, dude, it just feels like every game's going to be magnified.
Completely agree. And I think Preller's going to have to be remotivated. He always is, to improve this team. And I know it's not the end all be all, but I'm just telling you right now, if I go to Fangraphs and click on playoff odds, because everyone here thinks the Padres have not an easy path, but certainly a wide path to the postseason. Numerically, it doesn't suggest that. Fangraphs says they have a 42% chance. They give the Giants a 64% chance. They give the Padres a 42% chance. So yeah, they're still 8 games over 500. But yes, they still have to play the Dodgers 10 times, including 4 times beginning here tonight. And that's why I go back to this series. And this is not the series where you'd feel good coming out of if you lose 3 out of 4. After losing a home series to the Dodgers and a road series to Arizona, they got to show up this week and find a way to get at least a couple of games.
Now, the one thing that is a really good thing that the Padres and Padres fans can look forward to, we all can look forward to, is that September schedule.
Yes, you're right.
We've mentioned it multiple times. They faced the Rockies, I think, 7 times in September.
Yeah,
they faced the White Sox for 3 games. They faced the Orioles for, I think, 3 games.
Yep, you're right.
I know you just mentioned Cincinnati, but I think they play since.
Yeah, they're 37-35, but who knows if they fall off by then.
Probably will.
Yeah.
And the Giants and Dodgers face off a lot in September. I think they have 2 series against each other.
Yeah, I think we looked that up. Yeah.
Right. So, making sure you get to September in a good spot, you have some real opportunities to make up ground. But if you don't get to September in a good spot, then you're going to have to put your foot on that gas pedal as firm as possible and play lights out.
And how would we really feel about that? Like if you're 3 out with 25 to play,
you've been kind of playing average baseball since
since the beginning of the year, man.
Right.
And then you've really put a lot of pressure on yourself to go close 16-9.
And that's
after being a below 500 team for 3 months or something.
And to ask a team to flip that switch
and go 17-8. It's not going to be easy.
It's not going to be easy. It's a very tough ask. They did it last year.
Yep. But
now you're asking me to do it in back-to-back seasons. If that were the case, they could do it. They could do it. And we're not even there yet. It's June 16th. It's not even close to September.
There's 70 games.
Still.
I know. It's like we can finally start to talk about where they are. I mean, you're 70 games in, which means there's a ton of baseball left, but you've played 70 games.
Right.
So you start to get a good feel for who they are. Kevin Acee joins us from Los Angeles on the other side. He will get us ready. The latest on Yu Darvish, his thoughts on this 4-game series with Shohei Ohtani on the mound for LA. Our Padres insider Kevin Acee will kick off hour 2. Ryan Donovan, head coach at San Diego State men's golf, will join us after JJ Spawn wins the U.S. Open, a former Aztec, an Aztec for life. But Kevin Acee will join us on the other side. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Payday. Padres Dodgers round 2 up at Dodger Stadium. Game 1 of a 4-game series starts tonight, 7:10 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Shohei Ohtani making his debut for the Dodgers on the mound. He's expected to only pitch 1 inning for LA. Game 5 of the NBA Finals tonight in OKC. The series tied at 2 games apiece. 5:30 tip time between the Pacers and the Thunder. Big shakeup in the NL West as a blockbuster trade went down yesterday afternoon as the Giants traded for Rafi Devers from the Boston Red Sox. Hardworking people need a hardworking candy bar packed with peanuts and filled with golden caramel. Payday is definitely working hard for you. So grab one now to power you through the day. Payday, peanut caramel bar. Get to it.
All right, Kevin AC from LA. Padres Dodgers again. Round 2 begins tonight. It is an important 4-game series. Padres 3 games back of the Dodgers. Beginning tonight, Dylan Cease, Shohei Ohtani. Kevin, always appreciate it. We've been talking about Tatis. He does break out this weekend, obviously in a huge way. 8 for 13, some power, although still seeking that home run. So what do we say about Tatis now? Entering the series against the Dodgers, a very impactful series. Is he back, or we need to see more of it this week against the Dodgers?
Well, I don't know. Was there a tweet from Jim that I missed where
Jim
said Tatis sucks?
He didn't tweet it. Kevin, he didn't tweet it, but we ripped into him. When was it, Jim?
It was
you went all in.
It was probably before. I think it was before the D-back series.
Like Thursday or Friday, Jim went all in on Tatis, saying like just DFM. And look at him now. I know, but I'm saying we went all in. We were critical.
I remember the question: is he an 800 OPS guy now?
Right.
There you go. So maybe that was it.
Yeah. Well, 1,500 OPS this weekend.
Shut me up.
Somewhere in between. That's what I'll say. Next question. No. I look. Could it be a surprise? Now, you need some power, or else, right? He's still not that guy that you're expecting. But I don't know why we wouldn't think the power would come. Look, the guy just was in a horrendous slump. Whatever. It was the worst of his career. He'd had one sort of like it. This is who he is. I was fascinated by Mike Schill yesterday. I don't know if you guys listened or if you could see him talking where he calls him the best player on the planet when he's like this. And then Mike isn't comfortable doing that. So he didn't walk it back, but he was just like, and you know what? He's right. Like, he's in the conversation when he's the guy who does what he did over the weekend. Had he also maybe hit at least 1 homer or 2 homers, then it would have been like, oh, that is Fernando Tatis Jr.
And especially now with Jackson Merrill out for, I mean, who knows how long? It's at least 7 days. Yesterday was the first day of concussion IL. Could not have picked a better time if Tatis truly is going to heat up here.
Can you imagine going into this Dodgers series, which I agree with you is a big series if you look at it, 3 games back, 4 games? What if you got swept? I mean, that changes the complexion of things. So it's big series. Can you imagine going into it if Tatis was still hitting 180 over the last month and a half and Merrill is out and the offense hadn't scored 15 runs in the last 2 days? I mean, like, yeah, I know that's a big if, but like, was that really so out of the realm of possibility as of Friday?
No.
Right. That's a really good point. Kevin Acey's our Padres insider is with us right now from LA. So you've caught up with Yu Darvish, right, in terms of expectations for timing and the latest. What is the latest for our listeners with Darvish?
Well, I asked him if he thought the All-Star break. He said yes. Couldn't get specific about it, but the All-Star break puts us squarely where sort of has been sort of hinted at, and the fact that Yu Darvish said it. So if it's a little before that, which I suspect it is, or a little after that, then okay, that's the new expectation. And from my understanding, that they were always pretty realistic. Once he got shut down in Vegas, it was like, all right, we're not even going to say anything. Like, we don't know. Like, we don't know. And that seems like to be real. Like, they just didn't know. Well, now it feels like they are optimistic that Yu Darvish will be back and be able to give them something, or I guess I should say try to give them something. And then the expectation is that like, he is okay. He's structurally okay in the elbow. It's you, Darvish, figuring out how to work it. Hey, maybe 94 is the top of the fastball. And then he's got all these other pitches. And so, they think you, Darvish, can be you, Darvish, at like that. And that, yes, he can come back. Because I think that's one of the questions, right? Is he going to be able to give you the regular 5+, 6+, and because that's pretty necessary, and that's their expectation.
The stove is officially lit, Kevin, after the Devers trade yesterday. Now, again, that feels like a outlier, such a big blockbuster deal that I don't think it's going to like spurn everybody. Like, we have to make a move now. But it was interesting seeing reports of AJ calling. Of course, he called the Red Sox on Devers. Yeah. He calls everybody on everybody. But still, it doesn't take away from the fact that this team does need another bat, especially a left fielder. And you wrote in your Padres Daily today that, they might be somewhere in the middle, depending on, what they have in the minors to give up. And it might be kind of hard to swing a trade for like a proven bat because of the not a lot of talent they have to give away. Where do you see things standing right now and with AJ and the prospects of making a move here?
I don't know where this left fielder comes from. I don't. But I do trust in AJ Preller because he has come through so many times. I think it's going to have to be one of their or two of their young relievers, maybe even a major league reliever. And then they've got some depth in the minor leagues there that's dealing from a strength. It's about their only strength. So is there a team out there that has a right-handed bat that, is looking to contend and wants a solid reliever? And it's really hard because people outside the organization are like, what do they have? And the Padres are kind of like, well, yeah. I mean, they're not exactly putting a big fight on that. I'm saying, oh no, we got lots to deal with. But they do seem to be confident they can get it done. And I mean, honestly, there's so many contenders right now and so few good players out there. I hope people's expectations aren't that high. So
give me a reliever's name that you think potentially could be a name that's to be discussed.
I was really hoping not to do that, but I'll give it to you. Adrian Morejon. He's not gonna stick around because this guy's somebody's closer at some point. And I don't know that, I don't know that he is now, but he's a hell of a pitcher. And he seems to have become very comfortable in his role, in his skin. He's matured. He's nasty. He's consistent. I haven't heard that. That's Kevin Azzi speculating. And, but based on me knowing that other teams are asking for major league talent, they're asking for pitchers. And we're very early in the process here, but I've never heard Adrian Morejon's name out of anyone's lips. I'm saying, where do the Padres have value? And they have value in their bullpen.
That's a fair point. Kevin Acey with us right now, our Padres insider, John and Jim. What did you make of Suarez and what transpired 2 days ago? I mean, there's an inevitability to closing and having games like that. I know he wasn't in a safe spot, which sometimes gets tricky for closers, although they've used him a ton over the years in 4-run games. You watched it play out. What did you make of what happened and where they go from here with Suarez?
Yeah, I'm glad you said it. They use him a lot in 4-run games. Last year it was like 9 times. It's more than any closer. It is increased when managers do that. More managers do it. Mike did it more with Robert than anyone else, but only a little more. So anyone thinking that's because it wasn't a safe situation, it just, that's been proved to not be the case. He didn't have it. He was trying to, he threw some bad changeups and they beat him. And this was certainly different than the 4-walk, 5-run inning against the Angels. This was, he got crushed. And here's the other thing. That was the 4th time the Diamondbacks have done that to a team.
Right.
So that's a good offense. I came away from there. A lot of times, I get skewed because I'm watching the Padres and then I watch the team that plays them. But if you look at I think we were talking about this Friday, the Diamondbacks numbers offensively, especially against righties, and their late inning, comebacks, that's a good offense, man. I don't know why people are saying the Diamondbacks are dead and going to be sellers. So hey, look, he got rocked. I think I can't explain to you why, and no one in the Padres thinks there's any problem with Robert Suarez that I can determine, but he seems more hittable this year. And I can't tell you because his pitch usage seems to be very solid. His fastball numbers are the same, velocity, movement. Contact rate is the same. I don't know what it is. To me, he seems more hittable this year. I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, there are times when he looks dominant, but I would agree with you. He does at times look more hittable this year. Final one for me, Kevin. You tried to get some updates out of Mike Schultz on Jackson Merrill. All you got was he's woozy. Good try out of you. But anything that you have found out about Jackson Merrill after that conversation, and I know the timetable is up in the air, obviously, but any update on him?
He just was not with it. I can see that myself, and then that's what everyone said. The thing about concussions is, like Luis Ariz looked like he was, going to have to be, taken by medevac to the hospital, and that he might be out for a year, right? And then he's back in a week. When you saw the play, did you think Jackson Merrill was going to get up with concussion?
Dude, that's exactly what we talked about last night, Kevin.
He got rocked.
Yeah.
And when you saw him Sunday morning, I mean, he was out of it still. Now, they said he was feeling better, and, that's all we got right now. I don't anticipate seeing him. I think that he's going back to San Diego, or he went back to San Diego. So I guess we'll find out this weekend. Concussions, man, he could clear up. He could be cleared up right now and be doing calculus. I don't know that that's a hobby of his, but he could be. Or this could take a couple weeks. I don't know with concussions.
Yeah, and what's crazy with Merrill is obviously we saw him basically play every day a year ago, and I think he missed 25 games due to the hamstring. He'll miss at least 7 here. You're talking about 30-plus games in the first half of the year. The final one for me, Kevin, would just be about Shohei Ohtani. Again, it's going to get all the headlines. It's not like he's going 6 innings today. It might just be 1 inning or less, or maybe it's an inning and a third or whatever it is. But we already know that this series is one of the great series being played right now in baseball between the Padres and the Dodgers. What's your sense of what impact this has and just the overall ambiance and feel, whether it's in the press box with the media coverage or in the stands? I know Dodger fans aren't always there in the top of the first inning.
It's a giveaway tonight, though, I think.
Oh, is it a giveaway? But yeah. I mean, what do you make of this? Ohtani returns kind of to the surprise of a lot of people. They announced it less than 24 hours ago, and he'll return here tonight.
Yeah. You know what the giveaway is tonight?
The Blake Snell bobblehead, right?
Yeah. You know what the giveaway tomorrow is with the Padres here?
World Series trophy or something? World Series related?
Yeah.
What do you got? The pocket schedule?
Little replica trophy.
Oh, wow. Great. Perfect timing.
Yeah. See what you guys don't have? Anyway. You mentioned the press box and the stands. That's where right now, today, the big impact is, right? Like, it's the big story and fans are excited. And certainly the Dodgers are excited. But this is more long-term, right? Like, this is the impact is, okay, well, he's pitching now. And if this goes well, that means he's a pitcher this year. So that's the impact of this, right? Like, so, yeah, that's all it is. It's 1 inning and then it's over. But in terms of, wow, Shohei Ohtani is back and he's pitching. Oh, wow, the best hitter in the National League, maybe the best hitter on the planet. I don't know, Aaron Judge. But, like, wow. Now, I will be curious how good of a pitcher and hitter he continues to be. But the fact is, wow, this is when the Dodgers start getting their money's worth.
Yeah, it's going to be a scene there tonight. Final one, Kevin. You tell me, when should we ask you again about Michael King?
You can ask on Wednesday. I mean, I'm trying all the time. It just because you never know on these things. It's one of the worst parts of my job is to have to ask the same question. And then, on the 50th time you get it. Or you forget to ask or don't ask because you're tired of asking. And the 50th time is when you would have got the answer. So you can ask anytime. It sure seems that he is still searching for what's the best way to try to get this thing going, and it might just be time. I will say this. He was with the team the last couple days, though he wasn't around the clubhouse much when I was in there, so haven't been able to talk to him, but he was with the team just these last couple days.
Huge storylines, obviously, surrounding the Padres. The latest with you, Darvish, and Michael King. Kevin, we always appreciate it. We'll catch up again from Dodger Stadium on Wednesday. And thanks, as always, for taking time for us.
Right on, guys. See ya.
All right, great stuff. Kevin Ace, your Padres Insider, brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. We react, plus Ryan Donovan, San Diego State's head men's golf coach, will join us at 3:30 as JJ Spawn wins the U.S. Open and Aztec for life. Stay with us. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Wednesday at 6, right here on San Diego Sports 760, SDFC Midweek Live, coming off a win at Minnesota.
Huge win.
Second place in the West. One of the top teams in Major League Soccer right now, into the second half of the year, by the way. We're going to hear from the head coach, Mikey Vars. Find out the latest on the club, SDFC Midweek Live, every Wednesday at 6 on your home for SDFC San Diego Sports 760. You had mentioned in Kevin's Padres Daily, his newsletter, that he wrote about what the Padres may have in terms of what they can give up at the deadline, right? Because it's going to take a certain amount of equity in your system to go acquire what you're looking to get, right? So that's going to be interesting. I thought Kevin was interesting just a few minutes ago when he's like, well, just temper your expectations.
I don't like hearing that.
Yeah, he literally said that. I mean, I don't know exactly what he said, but he essentially said, temper your expectation, Padre fans, because outside of that top tier prospect they have in their system, the question is, what can their system return? Now, I look at what San Francisco used to make this huge deal with Boston, and basically the way they got that deal done was $250 million. It was less about the return and all about the money. Well, guess what? The Padres don't have the money. They're not going to be taking on tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars. They're going to need the equity in their system. And the question will become over the next 6 weeks, do they have it?
Yeah, they don't have any wiggle room to take on a bunch of money, maybe just little.
Yep.
But even then, who's out there that's on the trade block that's making that you would want, right? Like Rafi Devers is one of the best hitters in baseball. Mm-hmm. Teams would want him. Mm-hmm. Now, like Xander Bogaerts, nobody wants him.
Right.
Because he stinks and he's making a lot of money. Guys with inflated contracts, you're not going to trade for those players because most of the time those players either stink or they're really big pieces to their teams. Like Marcelo Zuna from the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Braves are going to trade Marcelo Zuna, and even then, he's more of a DH than a left fielder. But still, he's a bat, and I don't know the Braves. I don't know what the Braves are going to do at the deadline. Are they going to be sellers? Are they going to try to go for it? They have so much talent, investment, right. But yeah, I don't like hearing that from AJ. Or no, sorry, from Kevin. Sorry, from Kevin. And when he mentions relievers, and he said it, the first thing I thought before he even said it was AJ Moron. Like, to me, if you're looking to trade a reliever and you had to,
I don't know. How long is he controllable? Is he controllable through next year? I think the answer is yes. He is a free agent in 2027, so he's controllable for another year. So you're giving up a controllable arm who you invested heavily in that's finally paying off for you after years in which he didn't. What about more like the Yuki Matsui type before you trade away Adrian Morejon?
What's that going to get you?
Well, he just said they may have to give up a major league caliber reliever. I mean, again, you're not adding, to our collective point, you're adding Taylor Ward. You know what I mean? Like, you're not adding.
I mean, can they?
I mean, Taylor Ward is not going to elicit some ridiculous haul, I wouldn't think. And I don't even know if a major league reliever would be part of a haul involving the Angels. I would think they'd want more mid-tier prospects potentially. But again, to your point, it's like they're not acquiring some top flight 900 OPS hitter like Rafi Devers. So if you're acquiring, all these guys have warts, so to speak. Taylor Ward's hitting 200. Yeah, he's going to hit for power, but his overall WAR would probably tell you he's like a replacement level player with 20 home runs, which is something they could use. So I'm just saying, it depends on what you're looking to get. If you're looking to get something like Taylor Ward, I think they can do it. If you're looking to get something a cut above that, it'll be interesting to see if they can finagle it.
And the name above that is Jarren Duran.
Yeah, Jarren Duran. Yeah, exactly.
And are the Red Sox just like punting? I mean,
no way.
Kind of feels like it.
But I feel like after this Giants deal, you're not going to do the same thing. Oh, let's just get rid of Duran. Let's just do that. Let's just free up a little bit more money, and we'll just take on like the Padres 22nd, number 22 and number 23 prospects in the organization. Duran's going to take a lot, right? There's going to be multiple teams in on Jarren Duran. He had 9 more last year.
If the Red Sox are truly going to shop him.
Right.
The thinking in Boston is getting rid of Rafi Devers was not about trying to make them better. It was about getting rid of a cancer.
Correct.
Like somebody that they just couldn't deal with anymore. Regardless of how good he is, the relationship was broken. It was never going to be fixed. And they could spin it in their eyes, the Red Sox management eyes, of, okay, he's a cancer of the team. He might be our best hitter, but if we get out underneath this deal, man, look at all the flexibility that we have now.
Yep.
It's kind of weird saying that when you're the Red Sox because you're the Red Sox, and you just signed Rafi to a $313 million deal. But I don't know, man. Hearing that from Kevin just now doesn't make me optimistic that AJ Preller is going to go out and make like all of these, holes, filling hole needs. Like I would love to be surprised, and AJ Preller has definitely done that before. But if people are truly going to be asking for major league talent, in particular bullpen arms, their bullpen has been one of their biggest strengths of the year. So you're going to take away from one of your biggest strengths to fill a hole, and then like you create another potential hole to fill a hole.
It's a bad way to do business. And the other thing is, it's a chicken egg thing. If the Padres are playing 500 baseball for a long period of time, is that the team you go all in on? But are they playing 500 baseball or sub 500 baseball because of their holes? But if they continue to chug along at this pace and not go on another run, are you willing to invest heavily if you're AJ Preller and ownership? We'll switch gears. We'll get back to it. We need to catch up on the other side with Ryan Donovan, who has been the head coach at San Diego State for Xander Schauffele and JJ Spawn and Justin Hastings, who's an amateur. And what a week at Oakmont, because all three of those golfers had a remarkable week. Spawn wins it. Schauffele top 15 finish. Hastings the low amateur. And Ryan Donovan has been the head coach of all of those players. He'll join us next. San Diego State's head men's golf coach, Ryan Donovan, on the other side. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This update's brought to you by Temecula Valley Balloon and Wine Music Festival. Padres Dodgers round 2, game 1 of a 4-game series tonight up at Dodger Stadium. 7:10 first pitch. It'll be thrown by Shohei Ohtani as he's starting tonight for the Dodgers. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Game 5, crucial game 5 of the NBA Finals is tonight in Oklahoma City. 5:30 tip time with the series tied at 2 games apiece, Pacers and Thunder. And yesterday afternoon, blockbuster trade in the National League West. The Giants traded for All-Star Rafael Devers. Temecula Valley Balloon and Wine Music Festival by Events.com is happening June 20th to the 22nd, featuring Walker Hayes, Cody Jinks, Alabama, Russell Dickerson, Midland, Big and Rich, and more. Get 3-day or single-day tickets now at TemeculaValleyFestival.com.
What a week at Oakmont for Aztec golfers, including JJ Spaun, his first major, just remarkable to watch on television on Father's Day Sunday in Western Pennsylvania, and his former head coach, Ryan Donovan, with us right now on John and Jim. Head coach at San Diego State. He's coached some great golfers throughout the years, including Spaun and Xander Schauffele and the low amateur Justin Hastings. What a week for all of them in the U.S. Open. Ryan, we appreciate you taking time for us here on the Aztec flagship, San Diego Sports 760. Take us through your yesterday. I'm sure the whole week was wild from your seat, but how were you watching? What were your nerves like as you were watching JJ Spaun's final round, which was completely up and down and then culminated the way it did?
Yeah, I was definitely up early. I wanted to see how the course was playing early on with the players. And, when he started off hitting that pin on the second hole, and then, it was 5 over through 6. I was like, this is not trending in the direction that he needs right now. So I think that rain was just a blessing in disguise, being able to kind of regroup his emotions and then come back out. So it was definitely an up and down day for sure.
Besides the putt to win it, because I think that this would be the answer, but besides that putt, which was incredible, was there a shot that he had in the final round yesterday where you're like, whoa, like super impressed with, especially with all the conditions and everything that was at Oakmont?
Yeah, I think when he made that pretty long putt on 12, because a lot of guys weren't making, 30, 40 footers. So to make that putt, I was like, oh, we're right here. Now these other guys are kind of falling off, and the U.S. Open is showing his true teeth, and guys are getting frustrated. And his demeanor seemed at that time like he's like, I think I can still do this. That's what I saw looking at him on TV. And then obviously I think the shot on 16 was huge, the par 3, because a lot of guys were making a mess of that. And then the drive on 17, I felt like that was kind of the icing on the cake there. So, and yes, the putt was very helpful.
That helps
coming
too.
out of the stretch. But I think Victor Hovland definitely helped him, with the speed, at least on 18. Just with the nerves and the people and the darkness, just seeing that putt before him was a huge advantage for him to kind of know the direction and the speed of the putt. But it was a super crazy story, and one that will be shown a lot throughout the U.S. Opens in the near future.
Yeah, one of the really rare birdie finishes to win a U.S. Open. It's only been done 5 times, and now includes JJ Spaun. Ryan Donovan with us right now, San Diego State's longtime head men's golf coach. So I heard JJ, after the round yesterday, speaking with the media, where he's like, I thought last summer I might be done. I wasn't playing well. I was just trying to keep my card. He said he was content with the way he had played professionally, the success he had, but he didn't know if he'd even still be playing professionally at this time this year. I know you've had a very close relationship with him over the years. What has it been about these last 12 months that has allowed him to kind of reinvent himself and have some of the, not just the most success of his career, but he's playing some of the best golf in the world right now?
Yeah, even 2 years ago, he called me, and, he had 2 kids and married, and was like, I think I'm going to start teaching at a, local club, and I think I'm going to hang it up. And I just said, I think you have so much talent, you haven't even been close to reaching your potential. And I'm like, you just need to have a little bit more fun with it. And I think he's got a team around him now that's very supportive. And I think that he started realizing and building that confidence that, he kind of belongs. And, losing to Rory in that playoff, I think kind of sprung him like, okay, that guy beat me pretty bad in the playoff, but I was there. And I just think he's comfortable in his skin and knows kind of his role. And this changes his life, I think, for the next few years at least.
What kind of impact does this do for your program? It's not just JJ. I mean, it's Xander, it's Justin. I mean, Xander winning the 2 majors last year, JJ winning the U.S. Open here. Justin, he is just starting his journey here, and he's already played really well so far through the early parts of his young career. But what does this do for your program here at San Diego State? Seeing all San Diego State alums, performing well and winning majors.
Yeah, it's great. And we had Gun Yang win the U.S. Amateur in 2014. So I think it's a culture that we've created. We sometimes don't get the best named athlete coming to San Diego State, but we get guys that are still hungry, still have an upside to get better. And, we play a hard schedule. Obviously we're in San Diego. And, I think they just get motivated by story after story from year after year. For trending to the guys that are on the team now moving forward. So I think it's just something that we've, instilled in the program and the concepts and the ones that buy into it realize like, hey, if that guy did it, I can do it. And I think that's where Justin is now. And he'll be the next guy that I feel like we'll see in contention coming up shortly.
Ryan Donovan with us, San Diego State's head golf coach, obviously, for the Aztecs. What's the relationship like between these athletes? I know it's kind of a different time frame. Like JJ was on the Mesa, then Xander was on the Mesa, now Justin's been on the Mesa. But I assume there's a relationship and a bond formed because of their time, playing for you at San Diego State and just being here in San Diego. What type of relationship do these golfers have with each other?
Yeah, I always feel like it could be better, especially in the golf world. You kind of get in your own zone and whatnot. I think JJ kind of had a little bit of jealousy of Xander because JJ did have a better college career here. So I feel like there's a little bit of competitiveness there. And I think Justin's just been kind of taking it all in from both sides. So, but overall, it's healthy. It's good. They know where they came from. They know what they've done. And they know the path to be successful. And hopefully I can get them all together soon and have some sort of celebration.
Yeah, that would be awesome. They all can bring their trophies and everything. And I won this and won this. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Back to Oakmont yesterday. Can you just describe to our listeners that might not understand just how difficult that course was? And what made it so difficult and how impressive this was for JJ to win it with how just insane this course was?
Yeah, they were just talking about it for weeks before, and you can even hear the tour players trying not to psych themselves out, how hard it was going to be. I think the rain softened it a little bit early in the week, so that was helpful. But yesterday was almost unplayable. I thought Sam Burns had a bad ruling, not being able to take that drop. And that spiraled him to it just got under your skin so fast out there. And I've never seen so many guys on tour miss fairways and getting that deep rough and those bunkers. And it looked like the average Joe out there at times. So I think that's the way the U.S. Open wants it. They want it as hard as possible and they want an even par to win. So to make that putt to go to 1 under, I'm sure they were excited, but they were close to their goal and how they set it up. It was definitely a championship.
No doubt about it. Final one for me is about, an Aztec you've had over the last few years in Justin Hastings, who's completely burst onto the scene as an amateur. He was the low amateur again this week at Oakmont in the U.S. Open. What does his future look like? You've coached so many players that have gone on to successful careers. Justin, you tell me that he just completed one of the best years in the history of San Diego State men's golf. What's next for Justin?
Yeah, he's going to get ready. He is going to play the Open. At first he wasn't because he thought he was going to have more status on the Korn Ferry, but he'll turn pro after the Open, and I think he's going to be out there very soon. His mental game is it's stronger than anybody that's probably coached, and he was pretty average his freshman year, to be honest, coming in, and he worked hard on the mind side of things and being at these championships and learning from the other pros. He's kind of a sponge right now and still young, but he's very talented, very mature for his age, and he's even a name that hopefully we'll be talking about sooner than later.
Ryan, we appreciate you taking time. Congratulations on all of the success, both on the Mesa and with your former golfers as well. What an amazing week and what a run it's been here for San Diego State in your program. I mean, the year you just put together, one of the top programs once again in the country. I know you've got a ton back in the upcoming year as well. So thank you for doing it. Congratulations on all the successes and appreciate you hopping on.
All right. Thank you, guys. Go Aztecs.
Great stuff from Ryan Donovan. I think he just completed either his 22nd or 23rd year as San Diego State's head men's golf coach. I didn't even ask him this, but I would imagine in the history of the U.S. Open, you have never had a winner and a low amateur from the same school. I mean, what on earth are the odds of that? Ridiculous, absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 in 1,000, maybe. I have no idea. It's possible. Somebody put on Wikipedia, they asked ChatGPT, schools that have had multiple major winners. There's only like 4 other schools with multiple major winners ever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, San Diego State, what's been accomplished here over the last couple of years, we're getting to the point where it's like rarefied air.
Listen to JJ's career finishes in majors. All right.
He's played a lot of them, right?
He has.
Yeah.
He has played in since 2018. He's played in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's played in 10. All right. 2018, tied for 35th at the PGA Championship.
Okay.
2019, tied for 54th at the PGA Championship. All right. 2021, he was cut at the US Open. 2022, tied for 23rd, excuse me, at the Masters. Cut the PGA Championship. 2023, cut at the PGA Championship. And then this year, 50th at the Masters, tied for 37th at the PGA Championship, and then first, he wins the US Open.
Only player under par at Oakmont on a 40-foot putt to finish under par?
30? I think it was longer than that.
They said it was the longest putt hit this week. Think about that. Of all the golfers, the longest putt was that one, the final one at 18.
It was so funny because watching the US Open yesterday, and then the rain comes, and NBC goes, "All right, guys, we need to throw on something that will keep everybody watching.
Torrey.
Let's throw on Tiger from 08."
Third and fourth round.
And that all of a sudden became like, everybody go watch Tiger, right? Because the ratings, I'm thinking, for this US Open aren't going to be great because there's a bunch of
the rain.
The players and the leaderboard and everything, right? But they replayed one of Tiger's long putts. I forget what hole it was.
Was it the 18th in the third round?
No, what
17th in the third round? Because I saw a long putt that he hit in the.
It was not the 18th.
Round.
It was not the 18th. Okay. Might have been the 17th.
Yeah.
Anyway, long putt, back of the green, downhill putt, makes it.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And then you get to about 30, 40 minutes later, and JJ makes that long putt to win it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that's pretty cool.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. It was really cool. They showed Torrey in 2008, which I think is Tiger's last U.S. Open.
That
was Tiger's last U.S. Open win.
Yeah.
In 2008.
It's so funny. And watching the timeline from people that, weren't as locked in on golf back then as they are now. So they missed the Tiger Renaissance.
Yeah.
And people were like, wait, hold on. This was Tiger Woods in his prime? Are you serious? This was the Tiger Woods that we all been told about?
I mean, that's what's crazy about it. I mean, it's been 17 years. I mean, from when he was in his true prime, it's probably been about that much time, right?
I remember, 16 years old, 17 years old. And this was towards the later half of Tiger's dominant run. But there was a time where it was every major, it was Tiger's in the final pairing. Tiger wins again. I mean, he was, if you didn't experience it live,
then you're not going to have a good feel for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, 100%. All right. Is that good? The best and worst of the sports weekend on the other side, including JJ Spawn. Plus, we'll get to the wrap at 4 p.m. Tons to get to. Padres Dodgers tonight, game 1 of 4. Stay with us, John and Jim. San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Padres have made some moves here.
Oh.
They're not exactly Rafi Devers, but they've selected the contract of an outfielder, Bryce Johnson.
Oh.
They've optioned Luis Campusano because he doesn't play or hit the ball. And then here's what's interesting, but it doesn't mean anything. It's not cause for alarm. They transferred Yu Darvish to the 60-day IL,
Semantics.
but you can do that with a player that's already been on the IL for 60 days. So just, like you said, semantics, Darvish to the 60-day does not impact his ability to return. Can't be to AAA because he can't hit in the major leagues, unfortunately, and there's no room for him, essentially. There's no need. And then Bryce Johnson is up from AAA. The other thing is that Trenton Brooks, remember, Jackson Merrill's out. So Trenton Brooks, who was just recalled, is in the starting lineup tonight at Dodger Stadium and batting, what, 6th?
Listen to this lineup.
Okay, let's hear it.
Tatis leading off. Arias hitting second. Machado hitting third. Sheets is your cleanup hitter. Xander Bogaerts is hitting 5th. Cronenworth's hitting 6th. Trenton Brooks is your DH tonight, hitting 7th. Tyler Wade's in center field. And Martin Maldonado is your catcher. 7-8-9. That might be the worst 7-8-9. Like, is that the worst 7-8-9 in baseball?
Wow, look at that lineup.
Clip that for when they have 6 combined hits and 3 home runs tonight. 7-8-9. Yeah, I mean, it's not great. Like, I was just looking, Trenton Brooks, Jim. I'm like, has he ever been he's appeared in a couple of games. He's got 25 career at bats.
Yeah, he's awful. He was with the Giants. They're with San Francisco.
He was 25 at bats with San Francisco last year. Now, he wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire. He hit 120. Of those 3 hits, none were for extra bases. Did have an RBI. Remember that? That big RBI he had last year. So that's Trenton Brooks, who actually played in the Mountain West at Nevada, and he's out of Alpine, and he's going to turn 30 July 3rd. So he's got 25 at bats. He's turning 30 July 3rd. He's starting at Dodger Stadium tonight. Could get an AB against Shohei Ohtani, maybe an outside shot of that.
So he is a local kid. So you give him that.
Granite Hills.
Yep.
You
give him that. But if 7-8-9 in this line doesn't scream, help me, I don't know what does.
7-8-9, 6, 7, 8, 9.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
True, but at least 6, 7, 8, 9.
Well,
I mean, Xander,
Jake has actually hit a home run
Jake's
recently.
Hitting 6th?
Yeah.
Who's hitting? I'm sorry, I was thinking 7 is Trenton Brooks.
7's Trenton Brooks.
You're 100% right.
I
was thinking
Xander, Mr. like 23 RBIs on the season. Xander Bogaerts sitting 5th in the middle of this lineup.
Dude, he had 23 RBIs against the D-backs. Ripping balls down the left field line, sack flying left and right. I think he had two RBIs this weekend.
If it wasn't for that sack fly on Saturday night, that game would have been over on that triple.
If it wasn't for the sack fly, that's right.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
So it ended the next batter, but yeah, he had a huge. I will say, Xander did have a big RBI yesterday to get things going.
Huge. Yeah, against a good pitcher in Merrill Kelly.
Yes, but no pop. He doesn't drive in enough runs. He doesn't hit for a high average anymore. His slug is awful. It's one of the worst in baseball. Just look at the numbers. He's an average at best defender. They tried to move him to second base in year 2, and then they had to put him back at shortstop in year 3 because they didn't have another option.
Well, what do you think? When you look at a lineup like that, does that scream more of the same, back to the offense that couldn't score for 3 weeks? Or because of Tatis and Machado, they can do enough here tonight?
Well, it looks much better when Tatis is hot and Manny Machado.
Sheets has been hot.
Sheets. He had a really good series in Arizona. And if Arias can get going,
it
looks different. It looks better. But still, like, once you get past 4, you're like, Yeah,
I mean, there's a couple of things that fascinate me tonight. A, Tatis Ohtani is must watch. Okay.
For sure.
That's unbelievable. We saw it in an all-star game years ago. But now we get Tatis and Ohtani. I know they've faced off before in regular seasons as well, but that's amazing. Dodgers, Padres, Tatis, Ohtani, top of the first inning. And now I'm like intrigued by this idea. Could Trenton Brooks face Ohtani at some point? This San Diego native who's about to be 30, who's got 3 career hits in the major leagues. That'd be cool to see. But you're right. I mean, he's batting 7, so I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But I mean, I'm fascinated to see how it all plays out. Again, it's not the perfect week not to have Jackson Merrill when you need to get at least a couple of games at Dodger Stadium. Like, this is not the series, as we've said repeatedly, to lose. And this will not be an easy series against a Dodger team that is 25-12 at home. So, like, you're going to have to play well to get out of LA with a split. And hopefully they play well enough to do that beginning tonight. There's storylines everywhere. I mean, the storylines are ridiculous between the Padres and the Dodgers. We haven't gotten into near enough of them, truthfully. And if you missed Kevin Acee, you'll hear that again coming up at 5 p.m. But, like, this is must-watch stuff for the next 4 days, just like every time the Padres and Dodgers play. It's just must-watch, and I'll be watching.
7:10 starts. I like that.
I kind of like that. Settle in. I mean, we work until 6, so I can kind of settle in a little bit.
Now, 7:10 starts also mean late night wrap-up shows.
And these games are sometimes, these aren't the 220 games.
Ooh, no.
Between the Padres and the Dodgers, these can be 320 games.
Because Dave will make 37 pitching changes.
Right.
You're like, Dave, stop. What are you doing?
Just a series in June, according to Will Smith.
Yeah, just another series in June when Alex Vesia is celebrating like they won the World Series last week when they won the third game of the series.
And Shohei Ohtani's on the mound, just another series in June. And they're giving away Blake Snell like gold $10,000 bobbleheads. They're giving away like actual World Series rings.
Just another game.
And there's people lined up all day long to get these giveaways.
Yeah, just another series in June.
And the highest ticket price they've had in a regular season game this year.
Just another series in June.
Ticket prices are up 200% since yesterday.
Just another series in June.
Nobody will see Ohtani. I'm fascinated by that. Is it 60% full when the game starts? And if it is, 40% of the fans won't see Ohtani pitch.
So the Dodgers have tweeted this out. I thought this was...
Get here early.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, my gosh.
They absolutely did. Let me find this tweet. Yep, it says, coming to Dodger Stadium tonight, make sure you get here early. And they have a graphic. Shohei is back.
Oh, that's kind of pathetic.
Where'd he go?
Make sure to get here early. You won the World Series. Make sure to get here early.
Yeah.
What they're basically saying is, like, don't get here in the 4th.
They're also saying that they expect it to be a quick 1-2-3 inning for Ohtani. Get here early, you might miss it.
No, because they miss it because, dude, they're there 38 minutes late. You know the way that fills in, it takes forever to fill.
I know, unless you're there 4 hours early or however, or like the media today. I'm sure Kevin got there around 1-ish.
Yeah, you can't fool around. It takes forever.
That's the one part about like covering a team on a daily basis is for games like today, you're there at 1. Manager doesn't speak until what? 5?
4 and 5.
4:35.
Yeah. Well, the two teams, yeah.
And then after that, the game, that's another 2.5, 3 hours. You're not out there until midnight. You got to write your story. And you got to go down to the clubhouse. You got to talk to players. Like, you're there from 1 to midnight, 1 a.m. And then you're right back at the next day, same time for 4 straight days. And then you get on a plane and you go back to San Diego is fine. But like if you're covering a different team, it's the same thing. It's a lot, man. 2
more Ohtani tweets since we asked earlier. One is almost showtime in LA, and it's him pitching for the Angels and Team Japan. The one 8 minutes ago is the most ridiculous tweet of all time. Listen to this. Shohei Ohtani, well, there's a reason for this. Shohei Ohtani will be the first NL player to start a game as a pitcher and also bat in the leadoff spot since 1953. Yeah, no crap. Because nobody's done any of this other than Ohtani, and he just went from the American League to the National League. He's the first National League player. Okay. Yeah, obviously. So I think the tweets are up to 8, either 8 or 9 from MLB's official account since midnight promoting Ohtani. And we've set the over-under now at 20 for the day. That might be low. We will get to the wrap on the other side. If you missed Kevin Acee, you'll hear that coming up at 5 p.m. We'll tell you about our 4 o'clock hour giveaway as well. We are here until 6. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Padres Dodgers, game 1 of their 4-game series up in LA starts tonight at 7:10. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Shohei Ohtani will be on the mound for the Dodgers. Game 5, crucial game 5 of the NBA Finals is tonight in OKC. The series is tied at 2 games apiece between the Pacers and the Thunder. And a big blockbuster trade yesterday afternoon. Giants, they traded for all-star Rafi Devers from the Boston Red Sox. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscriptions ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
It's John and Jim to warm up that drive home.
I feel like they're just putting themselves in a position where they feel like they give Shohei Ohtani the best chance to be successful. I don't think they would do anything else. I don't think they would make a sideshow of Ohtani. So I feel as if this is part of the plan to get him wherever they want to get him between now and October.
Anytime Ohtani was going to return to the mound, it was going to become
a show.
Yeah, like whoever. If he faced the Rockies on a random Tuesday night,
yeah,
it would become a show.
Deal, yeah.
Now, time for John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of John and Jim. We're about 3 hours out from Padres and Dodgers, renewing their season series, renewing their rivalry. Shohei Ohtani, Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease is like, yo, look at me over here. I mean, 7 scoreless innings against the Dodgers last week. So all of the story. I haven't seen any Dylan Cease tweets from MLB today. Guy that's finished second in Cy Young voting before. He's been top 5 multiple times. He's established himself as one of the better pitchers in the game. They've tweeted, Jim added it up. Was it 9 times about Ohtani today?
I think 9, but there's a couple of retweets in there. So
yeah. And they've pinned a tweet about Ohtani as well.
We'll go with 8 right now.
All right, so 8-ish tweets. Ohtani is still 3 hours away from taking the mound. So the tweets are going to continue to come from MLB's official account. And we'll continue to get you ready for Padres and Dodgers. What do you got, Brian?
I'm kind of surprised ESPN doesn't have like a countdown timer in the corner. It's like 3 hours and 20 minutes till Shohei takes the mound.
If it was nationally televised, they probably would. I don't know. There's probably a timer on like Sportsnet LA.
Probably.
You know, Ohtani's pitching debut in the National League.
Now, this is a night where you can't flex this to ESPN because it's the NBA Finals. So,
sure you could.
I'll
move the.
They'd probably
do the same ratings.
Probably get better ratings, honestly. But Ohtani's only pitching 1 inning, so that's once he's up, the casual will probably check out.
Doesn't baseball still have they got a Turner package of games, TBS?
Mm-hmm. But those are only on what, Thursdays, Tuesdays?
I have no idea.
Wednesdays.
They got the Apple deal. That's Friday.
Thursdays, Fridays, Mondays.
I think it's on MLB Network for whatever it's worth.
Oh, okay.
You can watch this on MLB Network. It's just the simulcast,
yeah.
But it's also on MLB Network. So anyway, we're getting you ready. We'll hear from Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. We didn't get to Is That Good? We will between now and 6 p.m. But right now, let's get to this.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Is Fernando Tatis Jr. back?
I'm going to need to see a couple balls go over the fence to officially say that.
Mm-hmm.
He's stuck at 13 right now. He hasn't hit one in 3 weeks. It's the longest stretch of his career without a home run.
16 consecutive games. Yep.
I'm going to need to see a ball go like 420 feet. Like in the air.
In the air, yeah. No, it's fair. I need to see more of what I saw this past weekend for another series. If he's got 8+ hits against the Dodgers over the next 4 games, I'll say he's back, whether he hits a ball over the fence or not. But I'm with you. At some point, you have to homer. I mean, how long can a player of his caliber not hit a home run? So far, the answer is 16 games, a career high. By the way, in 2021, he never went more than 7 consecutive games without homering. So we need that home run from Toddy.
Interesting.
Next question.
Do you guys think OKC will cover the 9.5-point spread tonight?
That's wild.
Huge number.
The Pacers haven't lost back-to-back games since March.
Is OKC?
I don't know. I haven't seen that anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Probably
How many times did they lose
not.
back-to-back games?
Probably like
once,
maybe
with 14 losses.
I do think tonight it's going to be an avalanche by the Thunder. I just do. I think they're going to cover. I think they're going to win by minimum 13 to 15 points.
Oh, ye of little faith. These are the Pacers. This is Neesmith.
It's the yes-sirs.
Yes, this is Halliburton and Neesmith and Siakam.
Pascal.
I hope, because again, Kristen's a big Pacers fan, and I've enjoyed watching these finals, and I'm rooting for a good game. Just for basketball fans and for fans of the finals, I do think ultimately this goes 7, by the way. But I am rooting for a good game tonight. I think it's tough, obviously, on the Pacers to win in Oklahoma City. They've done it once. I'm hoping for a close game. I hope the Pacers can force a 7th game regardless. But I'll take the Pacers plus the 9.5 points here tonight. They have Neesmith. Next question.
Mitch McConnell. Or what's
no, not Mitch McConnell. They don't have like the former like
TJ
leader of the
McConnell.
TJ
House.
McConnell, that's it.
They
Mitch
have a
McConnell.
90-year-old congressman.
He's like,
I got his last name right.
It's like damn it, Court.
Is SDFC a lock for the postseason?
I think that is right now a pretty easy yes, in my opinion. With how they have played this year, their win at Minnesota on Saturday was very, very, very impressive. They had an own goal for Minnesota or for
They allowed no.
SDFC. They allowed an own goal, which was not good, and they came back and they put together just a very complete game. Anders Dreyer, he's been their most consistent, best player all season. Our boy Milan Miloski scored a couple goals. He's been great for them since they picked him up. They are in a very, very good position right now. I think it's an absolute yes. They're a lock for the postseason.
Yeah, I mean it would take a collapse, right? I mean they played 18 matches, which means they're in the second half of their year. They have 16 remaining, and the top 9 in the West will make the postseason, which means they're 12 points up in a playoff spot right now. Yeah, they're very well positioned. I agree with you. It's not just about making the postseason right now. It's like, can they win the West? Which right now is a distinct possibility. They're only 2 points out of leading the West. They're only 4 points away from having the high point total in Major League Soccer. So it's been an incredible start for San Diego FC. Next question.
Who's more likely to have a better record, the Giants or the Padres?
Man, it's a good question. I'm gonna go with the Padres just because of their schedule in September. Giants play the Dodgers multiple times in September. That's all that I know right now. But still, when you face the Dodgers for 2 series in September, when you're competing for a playoff spot, like, yeah, that's good. You can face the team in front of you to help your chances of the division or whatever the case may be. But I'll go with the Padres as of right now. But that's a tough one.
It is a tough one. I mean, I'm not going to die on the hill on the Giants being better than the Padres. I do think the move that they just made makes them significantly better offensively with Devers. That doesn't automatically result in a better win percentage or more wins overall. But, I mean, they're already well positioned, the Giants. They're 10 games over 500. They're playing some of the best baseball in the sport over the last couple of weeks. So, it's going to be neck and neck potentially between the Padres and the Giants a lot this year. They still have to play each other a lot. And we'll see how the Padres counter, if they need to counter that move over the next few weeks. But, I mean, are both teams going to win 90 games? The Padres and the Giants this year? And the Dodgers win 97 plus? Like, does the math work for that? 3 90-win teams in the same division. They better go 33-3 against the Rockies collectively.
And that's how you do it. Is the Rockies are the team that everyone just beats up on. And because of that, you get 3 90-win teams. And then the fourth, which would be whoever, I don't know, they win 86, 87.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Because the Rockies are the Giants. I think the Giants played the Rockies a couple series ago, and they should have got swept that series because they were trailing, I think, late in both. They came back and won. So, yeah, the Rockies are going to help everybody out in the National League West. The only thing is when you face the Rockies, you have to do your part. And when you lose series, if you lose a series to the Rockies, that's brutal.
Rockies are red hot right now. They've won 3 of their last 10.
Oh,
so they are scorching hot.
That's actually a pretty good percentage.
They're scorching hot because they're only playing 197 baseball this year. They're 14 of 57.
So, like, to our collective points, you have to beat up on Colorado. I mean, not win series. You got to sweep some series in there as well. But this is, I mean, it's incredible. By the way, the value of beating Arizona yesterday, the Padres are 3.5 games better than the Diamondbacks. If they would have lost the game, they'd be 1.5 games up on Arizona. So they created a little bit of separation over Arizona. The top of the NL West, though, Dodgers 2 games better than the Giants, and the Giants 1 game better than the Padres heading into this series. So there's, I mean, it's been a really good division. It really, and honestly, it's been a really good National League, as we talked about earlier. It's not just the division. I mean, you got how many teams are over 500 right now? A ton of these teams, like 9 of these teams are over 500. So this will not be simple or easy for the Giants or the Padres.
I love it. I just taking a step back and stop covering the Padres for a second here. And this is awesome because the National League West has turned into the premier division in baseball. Would you agree with that?
I think it has been, yeah.
Just by players alone. Take away the brands. And by the way, the brands are still huge.
Right.
Giants,
all the MVPs for the Dodgers, Rafi Devers to the Giants, all the stars in San Diego, even a Corbin Carroll. Shoot.
Tel Marte.
Suarez is 20 home runs with the Diamondbacks.
Yep.
You know?
They aside from the Rockies,
yep,
there are stars on every one of these teams in the National League West. Dodgers loaded, Padres loaded, Giants now loaded. D-backs, they have their fair share.
Yep.
You know, if Corbin Burns didn't go down,
they'd have another star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've been to the World Series. They got guys that are on that team that have pitched in the World Series before and have had success in the World Series. Merrill Kelly is one of them, and Zach Gallen.
Yep.
So, dude, the National League West, if you're just a baseball fan, every night in the National League West is a fun game to watch, unless it's the Rockies, because you're going to watch really good players.
Yeah.
And star players, you know, it's great.
I mean, it used to be the AL East forever.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Yankees, Red Sox, Rays would pop up. Orioles recently have popped up. So Rays, I don't know if I mentioned them or not, but yeah, I'm with you. NL West is right there as the best division right now in baseball. All right. On the other side, can we switch gears to the Pac-12? Did you see the long article from Pete Thamel at ESPN this weekend? There was a lengthy article from Pete Thamel who lists a heavy favorite to join the Pac-12 this month. We'll tell you who that is on the other side, how it impacts San Diego State. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, Kevin Ace, your Padres Insider. If you missed it, coming up at 5 p.m., we're getting you ready for Padres and Dodgers, game 1 of a 4-game series from Dodger Stadium. This hour, by the way, we do have a pair of tickets to see Billy Currington. All right, Billy Currington, July 19th. That's a Saturday. Gallagher Square at Petco Park. We'll let you know how to win those tickets. It's part of Live Nation's $30 ticket to summer. All right, livenation.com/ticket to summer. We do have a pair of tickets to see Billy Currington coming up at Gallagher Square Saturday, July 19th. All right, there was an article this weekend at ESPN.com that Jim did not read, but I did. Because it was like, once I saw this article, I was like, honey, I need a few minutes. Because it was college realignment intel, Texas State, cryptic posts, and the Pac-12's next move from Pete Thamel.
Before you talk about this, I need you to fix your camera again that you keep
disconnecting
because
I'm
you
not
keep
disconnecting it.
Throwing pieces of paper.
No, it's your fault.
How is this my fault?
Because last night you had issues with your camera on the wrap-up show, so I blame you.
I didn't have issues with my camera. I had issues with my microphone.
Same thing. But you're right. Stand by. Am I back?
Buy a better cord or buy a better computer.
Just stop putting the cords on there. Oh, what is happening?
Very ironic of me to tell you to buy a new computer.
Yeah, your stuff is the stuff that always breaks.
Mm-hmm. All right, continue.
All right, anyway, listen to this. Pete Thamel, okay? What's next for the Pac-12? Texas State is the heavy favorite per ESPN sources to be issued a formal Pac-12 invitation. The league is still engaged with other schools per sources, but Texas State has clearly emerged at the forefront of that group. So after all this time, if you're an Aztec fan, and I want Jim's reaction, what is your reaction to that? But hold on. But wait, there's more. It also is written in here that there is I'm trying to find it. Oh, yeah. What's next for Memphis? The question here is, will Memphis join the Pac-12 as a football-only member? Don't smile at me, you idiot. All right, Pac-12 officials have discussed per sources Memphis coming on as a football-only member. The rest of their sports will go to the Big East.
What?
Yeah, like basketball and Olympic sports. So they wouldn't have to travel across the country. They would just take football and play like San Diego State, Oregon State, Washington State, but basketball would play, Georgetown and Villanova and St. John's. If they could pull that off. Memphis.
Okay. So kind of like Notre Dame being in the ACC for some things and independent for other.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't be independent. They'd be Pac-12 for one and then Big East for the other. So what's your reaction to Texas State being the heavy favorite to join the Pac-12? I can't do a show with Jim.
Yes, you can.
I know I can. And then would you be more cool with that if they pulled off Memphis as a football edition?
Memphis is the sexier pick.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, if you compare it to Texas State. But if not, it's just not going to be flat. Like, this is not flashy. And I think
Memphis,
it's not flashy either.
No, I think that's flashy. I don't know where else you could go.
It's flashier than the other option they have.
Well, what's the flashiest? If you were just like king of college and you could just take a team and pluck them and put them realistically.
Any team?
Well, obviously, again, you're not going to put UCLA there or you're not going to put Oregon there. So among what was possible, was there a better addition than Memphis?
That was available?
Right. No, the answer is I don't think so.
I think, okay, here we go. What about Cal? Now, again,
yeah, they're in the
I know it is, but you told me.
Yeah, I did.
Just
you're right.
Pick a team.
I did say that.
And if you're not going to give me UCLA or USC, then I'll go with Cal.
This is the dumbest conversation.
Texas State talk.
No, it's just, listen, I mean, if you're an Aztec fan, this is going to be a future conference opponent starting in
just go get Memphis for football. Basketball is pretty solid. Release the TV deal, and then we're cooking here.
It's all going to be announced by June 30th. That was basically the premise of this from Pete Thamel, because they need to announce it by them. The school's going to have to announce that it's leaving its league and going to the Pac-12.
So I think we'll have some answers by June 30th, and today is June 16th. So within the next 2 weeks. I know we've been saying a couple of weeks for a couple of months or longer, but I do think we get answers within the next couple of weeks. And I think people are just excited for answers. So you can kind of move on. You know what the conference structure is, you know what the TV deal is, and then you just kind of get to the new league.
How excited are you for whenever the news drops? How excited are you for that?
Depends what the news is.
Now, what if the news drops tonight at 7:11?
I'll be reading the news. I can do too. I'll have Ohtani on the TV when the Padres bunt to lead off the game. And then I will also be reading the Pac-12 news.
Speaking of the bunt that you just mentioned there.
Yep. The big bunt.
That's the
big plan tonight.
Because John Boy thought that this was kind of Bush, that Ohtani's, rehabbing or making a rehab outing against the Padres, when, if you think about it, there's no other option. It's either now or in a week or whatever. I'm talking about from the Dodgers standpoint. Right. He says that the Padres should spoil Ohtani's return, because if he's only going to pitch one inning, they should just lay down 3 straight bunts so he only throws 3 pitches and then he's out of the game.
It's not going to happen.
No. How about this? Counter argument.
Make him throw a lot of pitches.
Make him either throw a lot of pitches or just hit nukes off him.
Counter argument.
Well, they don't hit.
Find your best foul ball guy and foul off a lot of pitches.
Oh, it's a great one.
Jay Cronenworth the other day had a 10 or 11 pitch at bat. Try to put together some 10, 11 pitch ABs. He faces one batter. Does a starter have to have the 3 batter minimum?
Yes.
I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Make him throw 20 pitches to the first batter. Then what do they even do? Got to leave him out there to wear it?
Do you think anybody at Dodger Stadium tonight will be thinking, I wonder who's going to go to the Pac-12, Texas State or Memphis?
100%.
At least one person?
Yes. You know who?
Are you going?
You know who? I'll tell you on the other side. Plus Kevin AC at 5 p.m. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This update's brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air. Padres Dodgers start a 4-game series tonight up at Dodger Stadium, 7:10. First pitch, Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Shohei Ohtani makes his debut on the mound tonight for the Dodgers. NBA Finals Game 5. The series tied at 2 games apiece. Thunder and Pacers. Tip-off time is at 5:30 in OKC. Is that a weird rattle in your HVAC system or the sound of expensive guessing? Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air will give you 3 real options guaranteed, or your visit is free. Nobody wows clients like we do. AndersonPHA.com.
All right, Kevin AC, 5 p.m. Your chance to win some tickets to see Billy Currington coming up in 15 minutes. That's July 19th, a Saturday, Gallagher Square, Petco Park. 2 things, Jim. A couple of things that are playing out as we get you ready for Padres and Dodgers. We had Ryan Donovan on earlier, who was the coach of JJ Spawn when he was at San Diego State. Spawn wins the U.S. Open yesterday at Oakmont, right? And there was all this discussion. What an amazing accomplishment for, this Aztec, and it's unbelievable, right? You win the U.S. Open. You're forever a part of history, right? Your name's on that trophy for forever. And then there's people like, yeah, but he roots for the Dodgers. Okay. And that's relevant in what manner? He's from Los Angeles.
We're talking to you, Ben Fadden.
Yeah, we are talking to you, Ben, but there's others. Like, oh, yeah, but he roots for the Dodgers. Yes, he went to San Diego State. He didn't sign his fandom to the Padres at birth. There are people that go to schools that aren't from the area of the school. There's probably a person that went to Stanford before that roots for like the Oklahoma City Thunder.
No way.
It doesn't root for the Warriors. Wow. Does that take away from them being a good swimmer at Stanford? Like, he went to San Diego State. He didn't go to Padres.com. He went to San Diego State. So who cares what baseball team he roots for? Ben
Fadden.
Yeah.
Talking about you, buddy.
But, right? Like, what is that? Like, oh, it's a great accomplishment, but he roots for the Dodgers. He's a golfer. Did he have to sign his fandom away when he was admitted into San Diego State 17 years ago? Like, what?
Yeah, the amount of gatekeeping with fan bases is kind of ridiculous.
Isn't that kind of ridiculous?
And take out the word kind of. It's ridiculous.
We can agree. We all agree here. Like, yeah, okay. Nobody likes the Dodgers, obviously. But that doesn't mean that every person that's ever existed in Southern California can't like the Dodgers. I mean, if you're born in Los Angeles, what are the odds you're a Dodger fan? It's kind of like if you're born in San Diego, aren't there a lot of Padres fans? Think about the alternative. Oh, he's from San Diego, but he went to UCLA. Oh, he roots for the Padres. Forget him.
He's not qualified to talk about this team.
To be UCLA grad because he roots for the Padres. Doesn't make any sense. Are we doing Hartman?
John and Jim, you weren't born in San Diego. You're not qualified to talk about the Padres.
Huh? Next time I'm born, I'm gonna make that decision.
Here's a dirty little secret for everyone out there listening and watching us on YouTube. Just about damn near 99% of the media members in San Diego weren't born in San Diego. There's a very select few.
And then those that were born in San Diego, they may only be 1 or 2 generations.
That is
how many go back a number of generations?
That's a good question, John.
Let's say higher than 3 generations.
Is it lower than 5 generations?
But higher than 3.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Look who's chiming in.
Aaron?
Who's chiming in.
Fadden. Yeah. Let me hear the take. He can call in. I want to know the take. Honestly, I want to know the take on why JJ Spawn rooting for the Dodgers is it all a part of the story of him winning the U.S. Open? Seriously, dead serious. Now, I think Ben, to his credit, is probably being facetious.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Did he text me as well? Born and raised in San Diego. I just feel different about it. Okay. Again, that's a perfect gatekeep thing, like you just said.
It's okay, Ben. It's okay. We still love you. Maybe. No, I'm just kidding. It's okay. I get it. Look.
Do you though?
No, here's the thing. We are coming from a standpoint of like Switzerland. We're neutral. We're not
neutral. Okay, keep going.
We're looking at this with JJ Spawn just in particular.
Yeah.
From a neutral standpoint. Like, who cares? Right? It's a cool thing. You went to San Diego State. That's a cool accomplishment. That's awesome. It's great for the program, great for the city. That's great. right? But I can see where Ben's coming from. He's coming from the fandom side of it, where the hatred for the Dodgers will outweigh anything else.
Manny Machado played for the Dodgers.
Again, I understand that, but he got traded there, wasn't his choice, and then he signed here with the Padres. So that's my argument for that Manny Machado there.
Tony Gwynn was born in L.A.
I know he's a Laker. He was a Laker fan. Tony,
which is fine.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, there's certain things that are outside of people's control, like where they're born.
I know. I get it. And he was born in L.A. or born up in that, L.A. County.
Tony?
No, JJ.
Oh, yeah. He was born in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Of course he's going to grow up a Dodger fan.
Right.
And if he is still a Dodger fan, okay. But he went to San Diego State. And so this is only being viewed in my eyes as a San Diego State thing, not the fact that he's like also a Dodger.
Well, I'll give you another one because this actually played out on social media 2 years ago. Do you remember this? Adam Seiko, the winningest player in the history of the Mountain West on the national championship team, right? Arguably the best three-point shooter in the history of San Diego State, right? Brilliant shooter. He would wear an LA hat. Remember that? Jim, like he was like on the plane, like to the Final Four. He was wearing like a Dodger hat, LA. And people were like, I can't believe he's wearing a Dodger hat. Like, but again, it's like, did he sign his fandom away because he went to San Diego State to play basketball? And would you prefer him to be disingenuous and wear a Padres hat?
Man,
just to do it?
No, I get it.
You know what I mean? It's like, this is who he is. I almost prefer why wouldn't the people just be who they are? Like if you grow up in LA, you're going to be a Dodger fan, you know?
It is what it is.
Yeah. Again, it's like, you got athletes that have played for both of these teams historically all the time, right?
If you like something, like it, don't care what anybody says about it. Like if you like to root for somebody, go root for that person. Who cares? It is what it is. But I do get it if you're a Padres fan, or if you just are a fan that hates the Dodgers and you live in San Diego and or even like say you're an alum of San Diego State, but you didn't grow up in San Diego, you just went to San Diego State. Say you grew up in the Bay Area,
right?
All right, and you went to San Diego State, and you also hate the Dodgers as well. Like, are you going to be upset like that a former alum of your school won the U.S. Open, but he's a Dodger fan?
Yeah, I'm trying to do like I have better comps on it, but it's, I don't know. I don't know the point I'm trying to make, but I guess the point that I would make is like, I don't know. The whole thing is ridiculous to me. He went to San Diego State, so what? So he roots for the Dodgers. Who cares? Is my point. It's completely irrelevant to the conversation. I had another point to make, and I forget what it was. Because we're talking about, I don't even know where we were. I had two points to make. That was only point number one, but then Ben got me sidetracked.
Good job, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Way to ruin the show. I blame you.
It's all your fault, Ben. No, it's really not. It's really not. But
it really is.
Here's the good news. Trenton Brooks, who's going to start for the Padres.
The good news, Trenton Brooks.
Here's the good news. Trenton Brooks, who starts for the Padres, and Ben just tweeted about it. He grew up in San Diego, roots for the Padres.
Oh, well,
so it makes him a better Padre. Yes. He grew up in San Diego. He went to high school here. He watched Channel 4. So everything he does is magnified.
Right. He might be the worst player.
Doesn't matter.
On the team doesn't matter.
Does not matter. He grew up a Padres fan. So he's like an extra Padre.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because he grew up. Here's another dirty little secret. I hate to be this guy. All these players that play for the Padres and play for all these teams didn't grow up rooting for these teams because they grew up in other areas. So like Manny Machado isn't a Padres fan until he got here. Right. Like all these players.
Yeah. I think he was I'm not gonna say
I don't know if he was a Marlins fan.
I don't think he was a Dodger fan, but he loved Kobe. He loves Kobe.
Right.
That's why he wore number 8 with the Dodgers.
Right.
Was for Kobe.
All right, here's what I want to do. Kevin AC at 5 p.m. Billy Currington tickets. All right, this is part of Live Nation's $30 ticket to summer. We're going to give these tickets away on the other side. All right, this is Saturday, July 19th, Gallagher Square at Petco Park. Make it a summer of live music with $30 concert tickets to 1,000 plus shows. On sale now at liveNation.com/ticket to summer. Have you ever seen Billy Currington?
No, I've not, John.
Has Aaron. I bet Aaron would be a big Billy Currington fan because I think he's a country act.
Okay.
So Billy Currington tickets, we have a pair of free tickets to see Billy Currington. This is going to be part of Live Nation's $30 ticket to summer, Saturday, July 19th, Gallagher Square at Petco Park. If you want those tickets, first two callers to 877-767-4760, you're going to play trivia. Call right now if you want those tickets. First two callers will be our contestants for trivia. We have a pair of free tickets to see Billy Currington. This will be at Gallagher Square, Petco Park, Saturday, July 19th. The number to call, 877-767-4760. One more time. Call right now if you want those tickets, 877-767-4760. We'll give those away on the other side. Plus, Kevin Acee, the latest on Yu Darvish. He'll join us at 5 p.m. Plus, the impact of the Rafi Devers deal on A.J. Preller and the Padres. We'll hear from Kevin Acee coming up at 5 p.m. If you want those tickets, 877-767-4760. That's next on John and Jim. From AJ Cassavell on social media, John and Jim will hear from Kevin Acee coming up in 15 minutes. From AJ Cassavell within the last minute, Xander Bogaerts didn't believe the trade at first, so he went straight to the source, texting Rafi Devers, his former teammate and new division rival. Here's the quote. It made the Giants a lot better. We aren't going to deny it. He's a big-time player. That was Xander Bogaerts with the media just a few moments ago. We've heard the same, by the way, from the Dodgers, who were on Sunday Night Baseball last night against the Giants, speaking to what Buster Posey and San Francisco is doing right now. I mean, this is, I don't think it has the same overall feel to Juan Soto at the deadline 2 years ago. Because, Soto was complete Hall of Fame trajectory, doing things nobody had ever done in the history of the sport at the time. But I would say that Devers' impact, even in the short term, even in now, in 2025, I could see Devers having more of an impact in 2025 on the Giants than we saw Juan Soto make when he was dealt at the deadline, whenever that was, 3 years ago.
Rafi Devers, and you just look at his numbers, Soto overall has better numbers than him.
Oh, yeah, career.
For sure, career-wise. But this year, John, he's got a 2.3 WAR. He's got 15 home runs on the season, 58 RBIs, a 905 OPS, and OPS plus of 152.
Elite hitter.
His career OPS plus is 129. He's a career 859 OPS guy. He's a 3-time All-Star. He'll make the All-Star team again this year. Yep. It's funny. The All-Star voting came out today, and we could talk about that here in a bit. But as Rafi Devers switched to the National League, he immediately vaulted up to number 2 in DH voting, obviously right behind Ohtani. And I think if he were to stay in the American League,
what would he have been?
I think he would have been leading the American League in voting for DH.
Well, what's interesting is then maybe he would have been the starter in the American League, but now he'll be a reserve maybe in the National League because of Ohtani.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Unless he plays first base or he's as a first baseman. But I think he's designated as a DH for fan voting.
One Padre is leading fan voting currently. The first voting numbers were released. It's Manny Machado, who's got a clear, runaway lead at third. He is very likely to start an All-Star game. Machado, in age 32 season, he's put together a terrific year, obviously, for the Padres. Outside of that, Fernando Tatis Jr. is 8th in outfield voting. 8th.
Yeah. What do you think that says about Fernando Tatis Jr.?
Well, he's clearly nowhere near the same national name he was 4 years ago. Plus, he hasn't put together the numbers. I think he's better than the 8th best outfielder in the National League, but it speaks to, a kind of just a change in the way that Tatis is viewed, don't you think? I mean, there's Tatis pre-suspension from a national narrative. There's Tatis post-suspension from a national viewpoint and narrative. Don't you see it like that? He's just not the same celebrated player, and he's not having the same season he had in a 2021, but he's not celebrated the way he was 4 or 5 years ago. I think that's pretty plain and simple, don't you?
100%. As far as the outfielders go, Pico Armstrong absolutely should be there. Kyle Tucker, sure. Yes, sure. Teoscar Hernandez, okay. Juan Soto, meh. Sure. Corbin Carroll, yes. Ronald Acuna Jr., no. He has not played enough. And then you got Andy Pages. I think we said his name wrong. It's not Pages, it's Pages.
It's Pages.
Pages. And then you got Fernando Tatis Jr. and then James Wood right behind him. Yeah, I think that the shine of Fernando Tatis Jr. is kind of worn off nationally. Unless he puts up big time numbers, I don't think people are going to be thinking all the time about Fernando Tatis Jr.
I don't even think it matters. I don't think he'll get back to the place he previously occupied, even with big time numbers. He'll be more popular with big time numbers, but will he ever be as popular as he was as a 20-year-old, 21-year-old in the major leagues? I don't think he will. I don't think he'll ever reach that level of popularity. This was the face of Major League Baseball campaigns and national advertising campaigns. There were arguments to be made he was more popular than the franchise, right? Like he was a transformational figure in the history of the San Diego Padres. I just feel like that's changed. Now, that's okay. If he produces on field, if he helps this team win, if he's the player that he was previously and he puts them in a position to win in the postseason, he's been a brilliant postseason hitter in his career, it's all good. But from like a relevancy perspective, I don't think he can ever fully get it all back. Is what I would say. Like, I don't think he'll ever have that level of relevancy in the sport. I could be wrong, but that's just how it feels to me with this 26-year-old player, that he's never going to be the player that was celebrated like he was 4 or 5 years ago.
He did this to himself. There's no one to blame but himself.
And he's got to perform. He's got to play.
That too.
You know,
I find it interesting when I look at the All-Star voting so far through one round.
Mm-hmm.
How are there 72,634 people that seriously voted for Elias Diaz as a catcher in the All-Star game?
Padres have fans, just like Marlins have fans, and there's 1,000 votes for some random Marlin or 500 votes for some random Rocky.
Well, I do. I know Padres fans. They're not seriously voting for Elias Diaz.
No, but you can click the all Padre.
They're voting him just because he's Padre. Xander Bogaerts, you might be asking, where's Xander Bogaerts land on the All-Star voting list? Well, he is just ahead of Mason Wynn and right behind Isaiah Kiner-Falefa of the Pirates with 74,000 total votes. Francisco Lindor leads shortstops with over 1 million.
So he has the same number of votes as Elias Diaz?
He has the same number of votes as Elias Diaz. And
are you a fan of a fan vote? I've never been a fan vote guy. I mean, it gets people involved, but I've never thought that's the best way to determine the best players.
I like the fan vote as long as the fans get it right. If somehow Elias Diaz had like 1 million votes,
right,
I'd be like, what the hell's going on here? But there's no shot in hell that he'll ever be voted an All-Star.
Sure.
And the players that are leading right now in All-Star voting, they all deserve it for the most part, except for Ronald Acuna Jr., who hasn't played many games in the National League.
True.
Max Muncy, no, he does not deserve it. But again, Manny Machado will win and be the starting third baseman in the National League. So Max Muncy will not be an All-Star. Freddie Freeman, Pete Alonso, absolutely. Will Smith, Carson Kelly, yes. Ketel Marte, Tommy Edman, okay. Tommy Edman, sure. Francisco Lindor, Mookie Betts, yeah. And then in the outfield, Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, Teoscar Hernandez, Juan Soto, Corbin Carroll, Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yeah, where it gets muddy, you're right. It's like, let's say Paul Skeens has a bad year, but he's still tied to Livy Dunn, and he's still like this persona and being pushed.
But pitchers
all of a sudden
pitchers aren't voted on.
Well, whatever. I mean, that's an example. Let's say Paul Skeens was an outfielder or Manny. I mean, I'm saying when your popularity impacts, like, it shouldn't be based on popularity. It should be based on performance is the point.
What do you make of Jackson Merrill, 14th right now in All-Star voting in outfielders with 249,000 votes?
He hasn't played. He's hit 5 home runs. He's missed 36 games if you include the IL concussion stint. So there's no scenario where he's going to be on the All-Star team, unfortunately. What do you got, Brent?
I like the fan vote. The thing that I don't like, and all the teams do this, is when the TV crews will blatantly exploit the rules to where, like, the Brewers were notorious for doing this, to where they'd tell you on the broadcast, hey, vote for whoever their third baseman was, somebody that totally didn't deserve to go. And you can vote for him up to 12 times a day per email address. And they would like tell you how you could sign up for multiple email addresses. So you could vote for him 100 times a day if you wanted to. And that's how we get Elias Diaz is of the world. You know, they get votes like that because a lot of the TV people will be like, oh, go vote for all the Padres, even the ones that don't deserve it. And here's how you can do it like that.
Because they're not getting in. You can vote for Elias Diaz all day long.
Yeah, it's not getting
I mean, honestly, they should do that for president. Just let people, like, 12 times a day. Like, get people more involved. Do it online.
Well, then Stephen A. Smith's the president.
Yeah, you're probably right. If it's based on that, you're probably right.
And every big important thing that he would do, he would be playing solitaire in the background.
Yeah, just vote as often as you can. As long as John and Jim are the radio show of the year, just vote is what I would say. All right, Kevin Acey, our Padres insider, on the other side. Updates on Yu Darvish. When will we see Yu Darvish on the mound in a Padres uniform? What's the impact of this Devers deal on the Padres and AJ Preller? Should we get our hopes up or not for a big deal between now and the deadline if you are a Padres fan? Plus, we're getting you ready for game 1. Padres Dodgers game, one of a 4-game series. Shohei Ohtani, Dylan Cease coming up tonight at 7:10 from Dodger Stadium. Game 1 of this 4-game series. A lot to get to in hour number 4 of John and Jim. Plus, we're going to hear from Kevin AC on the other side. Don't go anywhere. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by. Hold on. Sorry. This update is brought to you by Temecula Valley Balloon and Wine Music Festival. Padres and Dodgers tonight at Dodger Stadium, 7:10. First pitch, Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Shohei Ohtani making his season debut on the mound for the Dodgers. Game 5 of the NBA Finals tonight in OKC. 5:30 tip time. That series is tied at 2 games apiece. And Rafi Devers is now a San Francisco Giant after a blockbuster trade yesterday between the Giants and the Red Sox. Temecula Valley Balloon and Wine Music Festival by events.com is happening June 20th through the 22nd, featuring Walker Hayes, Cody Jinks, Alabama, Russell Dickerson, Midland, Big and Rich, and more. Get 3-day or single-day tickets now at TemeculaValleyFestival.com.
It's John and Jim to warm up that drive home.
I feel like they're just putting themselves in a position where they feel like they give Shohei Ohtani the best chance to be successful. I don't think they would do anything else. I don't think they would make a sideshow of Ohtani. So I feel as if this is part of the plan to get him wherever they want to get him between now and October.
Anytime Ohtani was going to return to the mound, it was going to become
A show.
Yeah. Like whoever. If he faced the Rockies on a random Tuesday night,
Yeah,
it would become a show.
Deal, yeah.
Now, time for John and Jim.
I'm going to punch you.
San Diego, Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 4 of John and Jim. We're going to hear from Kevin Acee momentarily. It's because my camera keeps going out. Don't play. No. I got unlimited free passes because I've dealt with your technical difficulties for a decade. Therefore, I never want to hear it. Okay? This is like if I've won the World Series 4 straight years and now I get to, and I suck at the end of my career. I won 4 World Series. Maybe it's the opposite of that. You've Bill Buckner this thing like 4 times.
What do you mean?
My computer doesn't work. My internet doesn't work. My computer doesn't work. I don't have headphones. I don't have this. I sneeze.
Okay.
So because of that, I am granted the opportunity to have my camera suck. Although I don't know what the issue is.
I don't know either. How about you just like not touch it?
I'm not touching it, dude. I'm not sitting here like yanking it out.
Well, you're throwing stuff on it. The cord's like, I blame the cord.
I blame Ben Fadden. All right, so we caught up with Kevin Acee earlier. By the way, we do have Billy Currington tickets. We forgot to give them away. We'll give away Billy Currington tickets coming up later this hour. We caught up with Kevin Acee earlier. We started the conversation asking him if he believes Fernando Tatis Jr. is back.
Well, I don't know. Was there a tweet from Jim that I missed where
Jim
he said Tatis sucks?
He didn't tweet it. Kevin, he didn't tweet it, but we ripped into him. When was it, Jim?
It was
you went all in.
It was probably before. I think it was before the D-back series.
Like Thursday or Friday, Jim went all in on Tatis, saying like just DFA him. And look at him now.
Say that.
I know, but I'm saying we went all in. We were critical.
I remember the question: is he an 800 OPS guy now?
Right.
There you go. So maybe that was it.
Yeah. Well, 1,500 OPS this weekend.
Shut me up.
Somewhere in between. That's what I'll say. Next question. No. I look. Could it be a surprise? Now you need some power, or else, right? He's still not that guy that you're expecting. But I don't know why we wouldn't think the power would come. Look, the guy just was in a horrendous slump. Whatever. It was the worst of his career. He'd had one sort of like it. This is who he is. I was fascinated by Mike Schill yesterday. I don't know if you guys listened or if you could see him talking where he calls him the best player on the planet when he's like this. And then Mike isn't comfortable doing that. So he didn't walk it back, but he was just like, and you know what? He's right. Like he's in the conversation when he's the guy who does what he did over the weekend. Had he also maybe hit at least 1 homer or 2 homers, then it would have been like, oh, that is Fernando Tatis Jr.
And especially now with Jackson Merrill out for, who knows how long? It's at least 7 days. Yesterday was the first day of concussion IL. Could not have picked a better time if Tatis truly is going to heat up here.
Can you imagine going into this Dodgers series, which I agree with you is a big series if you look at it, 3 games back, 4 games? What if you got swept? That changes the complexion of things. So it's big series. Can you imagine going into it if Tatis was still hitting 180 over the last month and a half and Merrill is out and the offense hadn't scored 15 runs in the last 2 days? That's a big if. But Was that really so out of the realm of possibility as of Friday?
No.
Right. That's a really good point. Kevin Acey's our Padres insider. He's with us right now from LA. So you've caught up with Yu Darvish, right, in terms of expectations for timing and the latest. What is the latest for our listeners with Darvish?
Well, I asked him if he thought the All-Star break. He said yes. Couldn't get specific about it, but the All-Star break puts us squarely where sort of has been sort of hinted at, and the fact that Yu Darvish said it. So if it's a little before that, which I suspect it is, or a little after that, then okay, that's the new expectation. And from my understanding, that they were always pretty realistic. Once he got shut down in Vegas, it was like, all right, we're not even going to say anything. Like, we don't know. And that seems like to be real. Like, they just didn't know. Well, now it feels like they are optimistic that Yu Darvish will be back and be able to give them something, or I guess I should say, try to give them something. And then the expectation is that, like, he is okay. He's structurally okay in the elbow. It's Yu Darvish figuring out how to work it. Hey, maybe 94 is the top of the fastball. And then he's got all these other pitches. And so, they think Yu Darvish can be Yu Darvish at like that. And that, yes, he can come back. Because I think that's one of the questions, right? Is he going to be able to give you the regular 5+, 6+, and because that's pretty necessary, and that's their expectation.
The stove is officially lit, Kevin, after the Devers trade today. Now, again, that feels like a outlier, such a big blockbuster deal that I don't think it's going to like spurn everybody. Like, we have to make a move now, but it was interesting seeing reports of AJ calling. Of course, he called the Red Sox on Devers. Yeah. He calls everybody on everybody. But still, it doesn't take away from the fact that this team does need another bat, especially a left fielder. And you wrote in your Padres Daily today that, they might be somewhere in the middle, depending on, what they have in the minors to give up. And it might be kind of hard to swing a trade for like a proven bat because of the not a lot of talent they have to give away. Where do you see things standing right now and with AJ and the prospects of making a move here?
I don't know where this left fielder comes from. I don't. But I do trust in AJ Preller because he has come through so many times. I think it's going to have to be one of their or two of their young relievers, maybe even a major league reliever. And then they've got some depth in the minor leagues there that's dealing from a strength. It's about their only strength. So is there a team out there that has a right-handed bat that, is looking to contend and wants a solid reliever? And it's really hard because people outside the organization are like, what do they have? And the Padres are kind of like, well, yeah. I mean, they're not exactly putting a big fight on that. I'm saying, oh no, we got lots to deal with. But they do seem to be confident they can get it done. And I mean, honestly, there's so many contenders right now and so few good players out there. I hope people's expectations aren't that high. So
give me a reliever's name that you think potentially could be a name that's to be discussed.
I was really hoping not to do that, but I'll give it to you. Adrian Morejon. He's not gonna stick around because this guy's somebody's closer at some point. And I don't know that, I don't know that he is now, but he's a hell of a pitcher. And he seems to have become very comfortable in his role, in his skin. He's matured. He's nasty. He's consistent. I haven't heard that. That's Kevin Acey speculating. And, but based on me knowing that other teams are asking for major league talent, they're asking for pitchers. And we're very early in the process here, but I've never heard Adrian Morejon's name out of anyone's lips. I'm saying, where do the Padres have value? And they have value in their bullpen.
That's a fair point. Kevin Acey with us right now, our Padres insider, John and Jim. What did you make of Suarez and what transpired 2 days ago? I mean, there's an inevitability to closing and having games like that. I know he wasn't in a safe spot, which sometimes gets tricky for closers, although they've used him a ton over the years in 4-run games. You watched it play out. What did you make of what happened and where they go from here with Suarez?
Yeah, I'm glad you said it. They use him a lot in 4-run games. Last year it was like 9 times. It's more than any closer. It is increased when managers do that. More managers do it. Mike did it more with Robert than anyone else, but only a little more. So anyone thinking that's because it wasn't a safe situation, it just, that's been proved to not be the case. He didn't have it. He was trying to, he threw some bad changeups, and they beat him. And this was certainly different than the 4-walk, 5-run inning against the Angels. This was, he got crushed. And here's the other thing. That was the 4th time the Diamondbacks have done that to a team.
Right.
So, like, that's a good offense. I came away from there. A lot of times, I get skewed because I'm watching the Padres and then I watch the team that plays them. But if you look at I think we were talking about this Friday, the Diamondbacks numbers offensively, especially against righties, and their late inning, comebacks, that's a good offense, man. I don't know why people are saying the Diamondbacks are dead and going to be sellers. So, hey, look, he got rocked. I think I can't explain to you why, and no one in the Padres thinks there's any problem with Robert Suarez that I can determine, but he seems more hittable this year. And I can't tell you because his pitch usage seems to be very solid. His fastball numbers are the same, velocity, movement. Contact rate is the same. I don't know what it is. To me, he seems more hittable this year. I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, there are times when he looks dominant, but I would agree with you. He does at times look more hittable this year. Final one for me, Kevin. You tried to get some updates out of Mike Schultz on Jackson Merrill. All you got was he's woozy. Good try out of you. But anything that you have found out about Jackson Merrill after that conversation, and I know the timetable is up in the air, obviously, but any update on him?
He just was not with it. I can see that myself, and then that's what everyone said. The thing about concussions is, like Luis Arraez looked like he was, going to have to be, taken by medevac to the hospital, and that he might be out for a year, right? And then he's back in a week. When you saw the play, did you think Jackson Merrill was going to get up with concussion?
Dude, that's exactly what we talked about last night, Kevin.
He got rocked.
Yeah.
And when you saw him Sunday morning, I mean, he was out of it still. Now, they said he was feeling better, and, that's all we got right now. I don't anticipate seeing him. I think that he's going back to San Diego, or he went back to San Diego. So I guess we'll find out this weekend. Concussions, man, he could be cleared up right now and be doing calculus. I don't know that that's a hobby of his, but he could be. Or this could take a couple weeks. I don't know with concussions.
Yeah, and what's crazy with Merrill is obviously we saw him basically play every day a year ago, and I think he missed 25 games due to the hamstring. He'll miss at least 7 here. You're talking about 30-plus games in the first half of the year. The final one for me, Kevin, would just be about Shohei Ohtani. It's going to get all the headlines. It's not like he's going 6 innings today. It might just be 1 inning or less, or maybe it's an inning and a third or whatever it is, but we already know that this series is one of the great series being played right now in baseball between the Padres and the Dodgers. What's your sense of what impact this has and just the overall ambiance and feel, whether it's in the press box with the media coverage or in the stands? I know Dodger fans aren't always there in the top of the first inning.
It's a giveaway tonight, though, I think.
Oh, is it a giveaway? But,
yeah.
I mean, what do you make of this? Ohtani returns kind of to the surprise of a lot of people. They announced it less than 24 hours ago, and he'll return here tonight.
Yeah. You know what the giveaway is tonight?
The Blake Snell bobblehead, right?
Yeah. You know what the giveaway tomorrow is with the Padres here?
World Series trophy or something? World Series related?
Yeah.
What do you got? The pocket schedule?
Little replica trophy.
Oh, wow. Great. Perfect timing.
Yeah. See what you guys don't have? Anyway. You mentioned the press box and the stands. That's where right now, today, the big impact is, right? Like, it's the big story and fans are excited. And certainly the Dodgers are excited. But this is more long-term, right? Like, this is the impact is, okay, well, he's pitching now. And if this goes well, that means he's a pitcher this year. So that's the impact of this, right? Like, so, that's all it is. It's 1 inning and then it's over. But in terms of, wow, Shohei Ohtani is back and he's pitching. Oh, wow, the best hitter in the National League, maybe the best hitter on the planet. I don't know, Aaron Judge. But, like, wow. Now, I will be curious how good of a pitcher and hitter he continues to be. But the fact is, wow, this is when the Dodgers start getting their money's worth.
Yeah, it's going to be a scene there tonight. Final one, Kevin. You tell me, when should we ask you again about Michael King?
You can ask on Wednesday. I mean, I'm trying all the time. It just because you never know on these things. It's one of the worst parts of my job is to have to ask the same question, and then on the 50th time you get it, or you forget to ask or don't ask because you're tired of asking, and the 50th time is when you would have got the answer. So you can ask anytime. It sure seems that he is still searching for what's the best way to try to get this thing going, and it might just be time. I will say this: he was with the team the last couple days, so he wasn't around the clubhouse much when I was in there, so haven't been able to talk to him. But he was with the team just these last couple days.
Huge storylines, obviously, surrounding the Padres. The latest with you, Darvish, and Michael King. Kevin, we always appreciate it. We'll catch up again from Dodger Stadium on Wednesday. And thanks, as always, for taking time for us.
Right on, guys. See you.
All right. We have fascinating statements and words from the Red Sox on the Devers trade that we're going to share with you on the other side. Plus, we need to share what we did last night. All right. We do a wrap-up show almost every night, me and Jim.
We were up
late.
Yeah.
We'll explain as to why.
We were watching something
until way into the night.
Midnight.
Yeah, maybe a little
texting
past.
each other back and forth, freaking out.
We were, and we'll explain it on the other side here until 6. Get you ready for Padres and Dodgers. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, hey guys, it is John and Jim again, and things are getting real this summer at Jamul Casino Resort with a Lux Hotel Tower and a long list of new amenities. You'll have more ways to play and enjoy all the perks of your casino fun. Players, when it comes to satisfying your wants and needs, we're not playing around. This is way more than a place to game. It's a place you can play in every possible way. Opening late summer, reservations now open. Visit jamulcasino.com. Here you can play in every possible way.
And get ready to elevate your gaming experience with their brand new casino app. Get 200,000 bonus coins when you sign up and enjoy real rewards with every in-app purchase. Just play online at playhamulcasino.com. That's playhamulcasino.com.
Plus, catch all the action at Tony Gwynn's Sports Pub, where fandom meets fantastic at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. All right, AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future. We need your help, though. Text AM to 52886. Now, to support keeping AM radio in cars, tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now. Keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates apply. We'll give away those tickets coming up. Billy Currington. We'll do that between now and 5:45. Listen to this quote from the chief baseball officer of the Red Sox on succeeding without Rafi Devers this year. This is the quote from Craig Breslow. I do think there's a real chance that at the end of the season, we're looking back and we've won more games than we otherwise would have. Now, he's the best player.
Yeah.
But it does speak to the importance of potentially having like a cohesive clubhouse that we've talked about in San Diego. So clearly things went haywire between Devers and the Red Sox. Maybe it's on the Red Sox, maybe some of it on Devers. Maybe both are winners at the end of the day, but pretty strong statements from the Red Sox a day later on the Devers move saying addition by subtraction, essentially one of the best hitters in the game.
It's really hard to say that after you checks notes, won 5 games in a row, just swept the Yankees, and Rafi Devers is your best hitter.
And you just gave him $300 million. So you didn't feel that way a year ago.
A year and a half. Yeah, a year and a half ago.
But, 2 off seasons ago.
Yeah, that relationship was completely done. I think just reading more about the Red Sox, because Red Sox in Boston, people are going to find out stuff that you don't want people to find out. Mm-hmm. And what people are finding out right now is that is a dysfunctional organization. Now, I think that the Rafi Devers thing started with bad communication in the first place. Like, if you're going to move a guy off of third base, you got to let him know. You have to communicate that to him before you sign Alex Bregman. And then all of a sudden, then you tell Rafi Devers, oh, by the way, you're not playing third base anymore, and we want you at first base. Mm-hmm. He's like, what are you talking about? I just on a long-term contract here. It's kind of like the Bogarts thing. Now, Bogarts
went along with it.
Doesn't have a leg to stand on because his numbers aren't even close to Rafi Devers. But still, it's about just communicating with the player. And it's all the Red Sox had to do to have this situation not be close to where it got to before they traded him. Both parties are to blame for this, but I look at more so the Red Sox than Rafi Devers. When you have a star player like that who puts up the numbers that he puts up, you got to try to make it work. And you just signed him to a long-term contract.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you said it well. To your point, they have played well as a team. What's interesting, I just did the quick look. His June numbers are awful. Now they're winning. He was hitting 200 in June. They're winning. I don't think you're making the move because he played poorly for 15 games. But obviously there's animosity, friction. I think you used the word earlier. It's probably accurate. Some type of like cancer element. Is he a cancer in there? That's probably unfair to him, truthfully. But it's easy for Boston to say on the way out, hey, it didn't work. We're gonna be better without him. Well, the proof's going to be if they are or not. Are they going to be a postseason team? Are they going to be better positioned? What's San Francisco going to look like? Is this going to bolster the Giants? Is he going to play well? Will the team play better with him? But yeah, I think it's easy for Craig Breslow to say that. That to me is piling on. Like, I don't think that's fair to do to Rafi Devers. Maybe it was a bad 18 months or maybe it was a bad year. I would take the high road and be like, you know what? We thought there was value here for this organization at this time. It's not because of Devers. It's because of where we are as an organization. I just would have taken the high road there. Say, listen, we wish the best to Devers. We think this is the right move for the Red Sox right now. But to say we're going to be better this year without him, to me, is like twisting the knife and unfair.
One of the last memories in a Red Sox uniform that fans will have of Rafi Devers is, just a home run off of the Yankees to complete the sweep. Now, it wasn't a walk-off, but they won 2-0 yesterday to beat the Yankees, and Rafi Devers hit a home run in that game. I don't know, man. I think if I was in Boston right now, I would be going scorched earth on the organization. Because if the player is putting up these types of numbers, you can deal with a lot. But when the organization takes matters in their own hands and rips that player away and says, no, we have a problem with him, even though he has a 900 OPS and he's our best player. So because we can't communicate well, we're going to make our team worse. That doesn't fly with me if I'm a fan.
Yeah, especially a Red Sox fan where they are so dialed in.
That's
and
why
you can. I mean, you can't pull this over any team. I mean, maybe you could do this if this was the Marlins and Devers is in Miami or Colorado. Okay,
not
whatever.
Boston.
But in Boston, it's going to be hard to do. Yeah, I agree with you. And the weird part is they were really playing well, and now they part ways with arguably their best player.
This is a lot like the Luka trade in this sense. If the Red Sox don't win after that comment, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And you better win now. And if you don't win, you're screwed. Just like with Nico. They didn't win. Now, it all worked out kind of for him. Yeah. But also, in that trade, they traded a generational talent in Luka for an all-star Hall of Famer in Anthony Davis. Now, he has to stay healthy, but at least they got something back.
Yeah, but baseball doesn't work like that.
I know it doesn't.
You know,
but that's why it's like, if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, you were so mad and probably still are mad about the Luka deal, but you got to fall back on, well, maybe Anthony Davis could help us.
I mean, they got bailed out by Cooper Flag,
and they got bailed out by Cooper Flag. But you're not getting bailed out.
Here. Yeah, there's no top overall pick. There's no. I mean, you could go take that 250 and give it to the next hot free agent in the offseason and see where it takes you.
And by the way, they better hope. Well, they better re-sign Bregman because Bregman's got an opt-out after this year, and he probably will opt out. So
yeah, it's an odd trade. It's a very odd trade. I agree with that. It is an odd trade. I completely agree. And I think for San Francisco, it's a huge win.
Massive.
In not just the short term, but it's just a big win. You got a player in his 20s. You always want to get a player in their 20s. And that's what San Francisco did. Not just a player, a damn good hitter. All right, we're going to give away those tickets on the other side. We do have tickets to see Billy Currington at Gallagher Square, Petco Park for Saturday, July 19th. We'll give those away on the other side. Jim's back page is still ahead. If we get audio from Mike Schultz pregame comments with the media, we'll share those with you as well. We're here until 6 p.m. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This update's brought to you by Indeed.com. Padres Dodgers game 1 of their 4-game series. First pitch tonight, 7:10 p.m. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres against Shohei Ohtani for the Dodgers. Shohei is only expected to pitch 1 inning for the Dodgers tonight. And game 5 of the NBA Finals, moments away from tip-off in OKC, with that series tied at 2 games apiece. When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
All right, we do have Billy Currington tickets to give away. We'll do that coming up in the next 10 minutes. This is a show coming up in July, Saturday, July 19th, Gallagher Square, Petco Park. Billy Currington to celebrate Live Nation's $30 ticket to summer, livenation.com/ticket to summer. We'll give those away coming up in the next 10 minutes or so. I think Mike Schilt is speaking with the media right now.
Oh, yay.
Now, I don't know what he's saying.
Probably
because we're on the
words.
air. But I do believe Mike Schilt is speaking with the media. So if we get that sound, we will share it with you as the Padres get. Yeah, he is speaking with the media literally right now.
Do you think he's fired up to be able to go up against Shohei Ohtani tonight? Competition?
Here's what I feel like he's going to say about that. As Ric Flair would say, to be the man, you got to beat the man. If we're going to be the best, we got to beat the best.
You think he said that?
I know he did because I'm looking at what he said. And he did say that. I need the audio.
Gosh. Woo!
I don't know if he did that.
Do you know what that would
I was
refer
gonna say,
to?
it's the nature
Yes.
boy Mike Schilt.
That's a wrestling move.
It's not a move.
Whatever. Here, let
It
me
is when
put
Ric Flair does it.
Brent, let me put this sound in just so we can hear something from Schilt on Ric Flair.
You gotta. That's such a Schilty. You gotta beat the man. You gotta beat the
well,
man.
first of all, you're going to face him for 3 batters.
Yeah, give me a break. Calm
This
down.
isn't the 9-inning Shohei Ohtani coming off like a 2.2 ERA game, is it? You know what I mean? Like, this isn't Ohtani built up in the postseason.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. Come on, man. It's not game 4 of the NLCS
It's 1 inning. We think.
or the NLDS because they wouldn't face the Dodgers in the NLCS, right? No, wait,
Why
they
not?
would. They
can
could.
face him anyway.
That's absolutely could. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Do you think they have a special strategy to deal with Ohtani tonight? Take pitches, bunt, the strategy from John Boy earlier, or just treat him like any other pitcher?
My question is, if they want to be the man,
Mm-hmm. They got to beat the man.
you might want to have a better lineup than you're throwing out there tonight. Just saying.
What option do they have?
They have no other option. I get it.
We've talked about Campy. He's gone. Merrill's hurt with the concussion.
I mean, Trenton Brooks is your other. I mean, come on. I'd rather see another round of Tirso or Oscar Gonzalez.
This goes back to the issue with the Padres at the higher levels of the minor leagues. Your prospects are Leo DeVries and Ethan Salas, and they're not in AAA.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like these aren't guys that are about to crack the major leagues. Ethan Salas isn't even healthy.
Yeah.
And Leo DeVries is a shortstop.
They are literally dumpster diving. Every one of the players that have been brought up is a just hope they do something.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brandon Lockridge, Tyler Wade, Trenton Brooks, who else? Elias Diaz, Martin Maldonado, Jason Hayward, Oscar Gonzalez, Tirso Ornelas.
Where's Hayward?
Bryce Johnson now? He's in the minors right now,
Yeah,
rehabbing.
but if he's okay, so then Trenton Brooks will be here until Hayward is done with his rehab.
I just named 10 players that are all just, I'm not going to say useless, but all those players
Offensively challenged.
offensively stink. And they've all played a pretty significant amount of time with this Padres team this year.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to our point we always make. They're not as complete offensively as they were a year ago. That's becoming more and more obvious. Can that be overcome with good pitching or Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jackson Merrill looking like themselves? Maybe. But as of today, they don't have the catching. They don't have the offense they got out of catching a year ago. They don't have the production out of left field they got with Jerks and Profar. So you got to make good with what you got. To quote Mike Schill, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Right?
And here's Trenton Brooks to beat the man.
We don't even know if Trent Brooks is going to face Shohei Ohtani.
Probably not.
Because he's batting 7th, and Ohtani might just face 3 or 4 batters here tonight.
He'll probably face 3 guys, and that's it. Hopefully,
Okay.
it's a long first inning for the Padres. I do hope Trenton Brooks gets an AB tonight against Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Even
That
if-
means
even if
seven
he-
batters.
Yeah,
comes to
even
play.
if he gets blown away in 3 pitches, I hope that Trenton Brooks faces Ohtani tonight.
Is that your goal for the night? Get it to Brooks.
Get it to Brooks.
Get it to Brooksy.
Get to Brooksy. Oh, that is
Put that in the dugout.
such an easy
Right?
nickname.
Get it to
Trenty.
Brooksy.
Trenty.
All right, where does this start, Brent? Is this just Schilt talking about Ohtani?
How excited he is to go up against Ohtani.
Oh, wow. It's like Darnay Trip.
Can't wait. I'm excited. Thankfully, no one wants to see me get in the batter's box. But I'm excited for our group to go see him compete. It's good for the game, good for them. We always want to play the best, and it's good for you to see him back out there competing again. And we're excited to be on the other side of it and take our shot at it.
Do you sense that same excitement from your hitters?
Yes, I do. Our hitters like competition. Our hitters like, and rise to the moment. I mean, if you're a competitor, which we have a group of competitors, you want to, as Ric Flair would say, to be the man, you got to beat the man, and we enjoy being we're going to be the best. We got to beat the best. So, it's what this is all about. It's what I signed up for and our group signed up for. So, we're excited. But it's about our star power as much as it is anybody else's.
Oh, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. Woo!
I mean, they're also going to have to beat him. I'm actually more concerned about Ohtani at the plate this series than I am about his 1 inning on the mound. Like that's way bigger of a story, Ohtani at the plate in this game than Ohtani pitching, even though the story is going to be Ohtani pitching here tonight. Has MLB tweeted about Ohtani over the last hour?
Oh, good question. Hold on.
Because they're up to 8 or 9.
Let me look real quick. MLB official. All right. So they have not.
They've been quiet on that front. They're waiting.
The last tweet was 1 hour ago.
They haven't tweeted about Ohtani in an hour?
At 3:48.
Did they give everyone like a night off at the offices?
Well, get ready, guys, because the tweets will be coming.
Shohei Ohtani's first ever appearance on the mound as a Dodger tonight against the Padres, game 1 of this 4-game series. That's coming up tonight. Meanwhile, game 5 of the NBA Finals is tonight. For the first time since 2013, the player introductions are being shown on television. This has not been done in 12 years.
A little too late, NBA.
I mean, it doesn't. Here's the thing.
Doesn't matter.
This has no impact.
No, it doesn't.
But you're right. There's been a lot of outcry over this, even though they haven't done it in 12 years. But there's been outcry over this. And tonight, for the first time in 12 years, you are getting the player introductions on television.
Here's what happened. The NBA got bullied so hard by social media that they actually bent a knee to social media outcry.
And they did it with the NBA Finals logo to some extent, too.
I mean, look, I'm glad that eventually now, probably starting next year, they're going to change up the entire production of the NBA Finals to make it actually feel like the NBA Finals. So that's a good thing. But this to me is just such a weak move by the NBA because it shows enough outcry from the fans about something, then they're just going to change it.
Yeah, but isn't that a good thing to kind of listen to your constituents?
It is. I agree. But this should have been done in the first place, is my point.
I mean, they didn't do it in the Warriors in the finals 100 times.
They didn't.
And they had 40 million viewers.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Like, I see it both ways.
And I think
I love player introduction.
I do too.
I like in the Final Four. I like in the Super Bowl. I like All-Star games.
Do you think, because you're right, they didn't do player introduction for the Warriors, but those series didn't need all the pomp and circumstance.
That's fair. You're saying this needs to be elevated. Break it all out to show how special and unique this series is.
Yeah, you're getting crushed in the ratings, guys.
Yep.
And
no game has hit 10 million fans.
Nope. And this won't hit 10 million either.
Yeah.
But I mean, almost every game has been like compelling.
Mm-hmm.
It's just from like a basketball standpoint. But you don't have the Stephs, the LeBrons, the New York brand that had a chance to make the NBA Finals to lift everything up, where you're not so concerned about other things that aren't on the court as far as like playing basketball, right? Not on the court, but
right.
I'm actually Now that I think about it, like I'm glad that this will all now be changed.
It definitely for next year, you're right. You'll see probably more prominently featured the NBA Finals logo. It'll probably not just be like AI generated on television. It'll probably actually be a fixture on the floor. And player introductions you'll probably get for the first games in each respective city, would be my guess, next year.
And thankfully, the Thunder are wearing white jerseys tonight.
Right. We're not getting the dark on dark uniforms. This is such a, I mean, this game's massive. Oklahoma City following a loss this year, they just showed it. Oklahoma City this year has lost back-to-back games 2 times. So, which is crazy. And then Indiana hasn't lost back-to-back games since, I think you said earlier, the first week of March, something like that.
Yeah.
The first week of March. So game 5 about to get underway. And we're getting to game 6 in Indiana regardless. We'll see if this thing's going 7 games. This series obviously needs a 7th game because I think if you go 7, you'll get that big TV number. It's not going to be crazy. But outside of it, you're not going to get a huge TV number, obviously.
I think the winner of tonight, and it's so easy to say because it's a game 5 tied 2-2. Winner of tonight wins the series.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And if it's OKC, you're guaranteed that 7th game at home. If it's Indiana, you're sitting pretty, going home.
Yeah.
Up 3-2. All right, call right now if you want Billy Currington tickets for Saturday, July 19th at Gallagher Square, Petco Park. We have 2 free tickets to caller 3, Billy Currington, here in San Diego, Saturday night, July 19th, Gallagher Square, Petco Park. Call right now. Caller 3, you're going, 877-767-4760. That's 877-767-4760. Caller 3, you're going. 2 free tickets. See Billy Currington at Gallagher Square. This is part of Live Nation's $30 ticket to summer. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com/ticket to summer. Call right now if you want those tickets. Jim's back page. That's coming up next right here on John and Jim.
All right, Mike Shildt just told the media there's no timetable on the return of Jackson Merrill. They'll do what's in the best interest of the player coming off a concussion. Also said his neck was still sore from that kind of somewhat unique, I don't know if collision is the right word, the hard tag applied at second on a stolen base try the other day. That was 2 days ago. So he's on the 7-day concussion IL. He is eligible to come off in 6 days, but you just don't know with concussions. Luis Ariz, I think, missed one additional day when he was on the 7-day IL. He had that crazy collision, obviously. So we'll see. But we do know Merrill will not appear in this series against the Dodgers, unfortunately.
And, Kevin even said it, and we talked about this last night on the wrap-up show.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't look that bad on television. And even on replay, I'm like, it must hurt. And again, I'm easy for me to say because I didn't get hit in the face like Jackson Merrill did, or the hit in the head, or however it went down. But it didn't look like on first glance, oh, that's going to be a concussion IL.
No, you're right. I mean, it wasn't your typical, like in baseball history, what are you thinking? You're thinking hit by pitch. You're thinking collision with the catcher. You're thinking free play in the field, right? Two fielders collide. You're not typically thinking stolen base try. So it was somewhat unique, and it's kind of just bad luck right now for Merrill. I mean, the hamstring thing sucked. Playing great out of the gates, missed a ton of time. And now the concussion, just random dumb luck, really, is what it was.
Little snake bit.
Yeah, so now you're talking about 32 missed games in the first half for Merrill at the end of these 7. And it could be more than that. It could be 33, 34, 35. So it's a big number, and hopefully he's got a big second half in store for this team.
All right, before we get to the back page,
do
you want to explain what we were watching last night that consumed all of our attention?
It was a problem. So you and I have both gotten into card collecting.
You've gotten into card collecting. I've got my itch back.
I wrangled you in, though.
Right, but I've always had that itch there. It hasn't been itching, and then you started throwing this card stuff around, and I was like, oh no.
So we do the wrap-up show. We do the wrap-up show, and I've been watching this app where you can you can bid on cards in real time. Like they put up like a 10-second auction. You can buy a Fernando
the
Tatis
Whatnot app.
Whatnot.
Yeah.
And I've been watching this one channel where this guy opens boxes of cards that people buy on the app, and everyone can watch what players are coming out of these boxes or out of these packs. And I sent it to Jim after the wrap-up show. I'm like, you need to watch this because it's truly incredible. People buy boxes worth thousands of dollars, and you watch what comes out of these boxes. These rookie cards, these one-of-one cards, so to speak, these special, unique cards.
What were the briefcases called?
Flawless. People were buying last night at 11 o'clock Pacific, and you and I were mesmerized by this because we just couldn't believe it. People are buying $5,400 cases of cards that have, by the way, 10 cards in them? Those maybe 5 to 10 cards.
Maybe 10.
And it was $5,000 a case. A couple thousand for baseball, $5,000 for football. And coming out of these cases are what was this? Like Paul Skeen's one-of-one jersey patches.
Well, it wasn't a one-of-one.
But things like that.
But, it's a couple of the best pulls that we watched last night, which we were freaking out about.
Wait, what?
We saw a one-of-one auto Edgar Martinez flawless, Edgar Martinez flawless, Hall of Fame. We saw a one-of-one Hall of Fame auto Greg Maddux. We saw a Jackson Merrill 1-of-5 auto.
Yeah.
We saw an Ethan Salas, I think,
1-of-10 or something?
1-of-10 auto.
But the big pull was what? Jokic?
Well, the big pull wasn't even from a flawless box.
No, it was from something else.
But the flawless boxes
are ridiculous.
Incredible. You're seeing
they come out of a literal briefcase. He opens a briefcase and the cards are inside of them.
One of them was a one of 10 Big Papi.
Yeah,
signed. One was Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah.
It's like what Bobby Witt Jr. 1-of-10 auto. And then who was the third baseman for the Rays that loves Manny Machado? Caminero. They had a Caminero 1-of-5 cleat.
They pulled his cleat out of the card.
So these are the most amazing cards ever. But after all of that, this guy on the app is spending thousands and thousands of dollars. It was one person buying these.
Thousands of dollars of cards. And one guy's opening them.
And one dude's opening them. He's in a warehouse of all
in the middle of the country.
Probably what? I would say at most $2 to $5 million worth of inventory of cards.
Oh my gosh!
Like at value,
he's got like millions. He
So-
pulled a card. He ends up pulling a
Okay.
card that might be valued at like $100,000.
So, what's the card box called? It's an NBA box.
Revolution or Revolutions?
It's like a Revolution NBA booster box.
Mm-hmm.
And the big hits are what's called a Kaboom card.
Yep.
Which are only one of ones. They're, I think, different tiers, like different colors. But if you pull a Kaboom, it's a one of one.
If it's green.
If it's green.
Yeah, because the other
Okay.
ones have more.
Isn't there like
artist
gold
scares.
Kaboom?
Yeah, there's different colors, but that green one was one of one.
Okay, so green one is
Yep.
one of one. So he's ripping packs, and I think there's like what 6 or 8 packs per booster box.
Maybe something like that.
So he pulls out these 6 packs and he rips them all open and he puts all the cards on the side. He picks up the cards and he shuffles through them pretty quickly because he knows what he's looking for. Within the first 3 cards, he sees something.
He starts freaking out.
And he goes, "Oh my god!" And
It's
he
a one of one.
And it's a one of one. Puts all the cards down on the table, and he's like wiping
Bracing
his
himself,
hands
yeah.
off because he instantly starts sweating. Pulls it up, and we're watching this live. Like this is not something that just happens every day. Like a one of one card at this rarity, it's rarely seen in a live format.
Mm-hmm.
Pulls the card away. It's a one of one Nikola Jokic Kaboom card valued at $75,000 minimum.
That he just pulled out of a box, out of a $75,000 card right there.
He goes, "Oh my God, it's the Joker. Oh my God, it's Nikola Jokic."
It's like,
and he just put the
it's pretty
card
cool.
down and he just like steps back and he's like, "Oh my God, I just pulled the Jokic Kaboom."
And this guy's opening packs all day long. So for him to be shocked, we were shocked.
We were.
I mean, I fell asleep to it. Truthfully, last night we spent like 2 hours watching this thing. It was pretty mesmerizing.
Well, the way he just like rips the packs, you're like,
and he's
it's like ASMR, dude.
It is, and then he's just got thousands of dollars of cards in front of him. It was truly ridiculous.
I actually downloaded the video after he pulled it, and he's just holding the card and he's just looking at it at his table because
you loved it.
Oh, I mean,
I've been watching it recently, but it was kind of new to you what this guy was doing. It was pretty cool.
It made me realize, and you as well, we just need
more money.
We just need more money because the adrenaline rush of watching this guy rip open these flawless briefcases. It looks like, I don't know.
It's got the nuclear codes in there.
Yeah, it's like a briefcase.
A legit briefcase.
That's sealed and
there's like locks on it.
Yeah, it was incredible to watch. So yeah, that was our night last night.
That was our night.
At the wrap-up show.
But and the problem is what I've learned over the last month doing this is it's a dangerous game because you can buy everything. I want to buy former Aztec cards. I want to buy Padres. Like there's so many paths you can go down.
I went down a path like a week ago where it's like a Russian roulette where they have all these cards on the table and say there's 20 cards and there was 9 cards on the table that were valued at over like $150 each. And what you do is you buy a slot and then there's like a wheel and it spins the wheel and it chooses what card you get. So you have a percentage chance
of getting the really expensive card.
Yes. So I decided, you know what?
Let's just do it.
Let's just do it. What $25 is fine. So I tried it and I didn't get the card because I would have talked about it. I got a nice card, but it's valued at like $4 that I got.
So you spent $25 on a $4 card.
Correct. But then the crazy part is I find out like as the stream is continuing, probably like 3 or 4 cards after I did this, that two of the chase cards on his like display weren't even in the wheel to begin with. So I didn't even have a chance to get one of the 2 chase cards. And the chat flipped
that sounds
out.
really fishy.
It was not cool.
That sounds shady. That's not cool.
Anyway, I gave him a bad review. I was very mad.
Oh, did you really?
I did.
I haven't done that as of yet.
Anyway,
but I do enjoy watching.
I said, I forget what I said, but it was along the lines of guy does not, needs to be better with details and he costs a lot of people a lot of money.
Including yourself.
You know,
there's always tomorrow.
But the Whatnot app is definitely
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous,
but it's
dude.
it's good entertainment too.
Oh yeah, it's definitely entertainment. But it's entertainment if we're watching what me and you watched last night, because there's no way I'm
Yeah, I'm not
spending
spending
$1,000
$5,000 on
on
a
it.
case of
I'm
cards.
not doing that. So there's no temptation there for me.
Like maybe I'll buy one. No.
The temptation comes from when you're watching channels and you see a card go for like $3 and you're like, maybe I need to get in on this.
Yeah, it's only $3.
And then you see other cards go for like $20 and you're like, I could do that. And then all of a sudden you end up buying like $100 worth of cards. You're like, what just happened?
Yeah, I know. 100%.
So.
All right. Join us tonight. We'll have a wrap-up show for you. Padres and Dodgers about to get underway in about an hour from Dodger Stadium. Shohei Ohtani, Dylan Cease. Game 1 of a 4-game series. Of course, we're back tomorrow to break it down and look ahead to game 2 as well. If you missed anything today, go to sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app or iTunes or TuneIn Radio. And again, we're back tomorrow at 2 p.m. All right. On the other side, stay here. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here with the San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
Bye-bye.